I'm gonna go make me an old fashioned during the intermission. I guarantee.
I'm pissed. I'm furious.
Let me text my wife. I need an old fashioned.
Yeah, text her. There you go.
Yeah, she'll bring it.
Quick. The guest is pissed. I don't have one in my hand.
That's awesome.
That's a good intro right there.
That is a good intro. So are we live now, Greek? Are we live?
Yeah. Does it say
All right, cool.
Yeah, it does.
All right, guys. So this is something that I've been anticipating for quite some time. Obviously, I've got the Greek DeFi guru. I've got Kryptonian joining me, and the one and only Brandon Joe Williams. And Brandon Joe Williams has quickly become a hero of mine, and we're going to get into why. So anybody that's been following me, anybody that's been watching myself, Kryptonian, even Greek, you guys know that I'm not a big fan of the government. And I certainly don't like them in my pocket. And I feel that taxation is criminal. It definitely is. And Brandon's come up with some ways to basically get out of all that and get out from under the man, so to speak. And, so we brought him on here to let you guys know what he's all about, what he's been doing. And much respect to you, Brandon. Very much respect to you. I will say that Brandon was getting the man coming after him. Let's say that the man was coming after him. And instead of just cowing down and saying, okay, you got me, he came back and he basically said, fuck you. He came back and gave him the finger. Yep. F the man. It's exactly what he did. He dug his heels in. He put his nose in a book.
We're just going to keep
numerous
this
books.
Show.
I love it, Greek. I love it. And I guess what'd you do, Brandon? Lock yourself in your house for like 6 months to a year and just go at it? And then when he came out swinging. So guys, the one and only Brandon Joe Williams, again, thank you so much for joining us, my man. And again, much respect and love what you're doing.
Thank you. Yeah, I at first a lot of it was fear motivated, but then after that kind of subsided and after that kind of went through, it was more excitement motivated. And then ironically enough, at first I was anti-government, of course. And then now I'm actually not at all. So it's actually funny how that whole transformation kind of took place. Because when you understand the game and you understand how the game works, the government will basically, the government just a processing center. Whatever you enter into that computer, they'll do it as long as it's within the confines of the source code. And as long as you learn the source code, you realize that there's a lot of cool things they'll do for you. You just need to understand the source code, and then you'll realize that the government's actually pretty nice. The government will pay all your bills. You got to beat the hell out of them to get them to do it, but they'll do it. So it's an interesting long conversation, and but the area that I usually start on all these shows, especially for shows that are kind of new to the subject, is I go through. Did we lose one of the guys here?
Yeah, we lost Center.
Oh,
he's coming back though.
Yeah.
Oh, there we go.
I'm coming back. Yeah, there we are.
So the first thing I usually do is I have like my quote kind of ground level presentation, which takes about 45 minutes to an hour. And it's all about nationality and citizenship and taxation. And by the end, you'll learn how to unsubscribe from taxes at about 5 minutes of your time for $0, which is always fun to start off that way because people are like, yeah, right, this guy's full of shit. And then after about an hour of me going over everything, then you'll realize that, in about 5-10 minutes, you can unsubscribe from all taxation legally, and the government will help you do it, which is pretty wild.
It's pretty amazing, yeah.
So if you want to, I can get rolling on that right now.
Yep.
Get rolling, man. That's why we brought you on here, to tell everybody, again, what you've uncovered, all of the research that you've been doing, all that time you've been putting in. And, he's not just talking about this stuff. Brandon is living it. Like this has become his life. So yeah, man, please get rolling.
Perfect. Let me just make one quick note here before I forget something.
Buy more whiskey. There you go.
I just did yesterday. I just bought 2. So it's Nika from the bottle or Nika from the barrel. It's like Japanese whiskey, bro.
Ooh,
someone bought it for me who came and visited me from Japan. And I swear to God, I was like, wait, this is whiskey in Japan? We're over here in America proud about our whiskey, bro.
I have to try it, man.
Bro.
I have to try it.
The
Yeah,
Japanese.
you're gonna have to let me know what that. Let me know what that is again. Like send me a.
It's like
screenshot of it.
Nika. It's Nika from the barrel. Nika.
Like what year is it? It's like a 12-year. What?
I don't know. I don't think there even is. I think it's just one thing. It's this one here.
They may not even age it. Yeah.
Oh man. Yep. I'm down.
Nika whiskey. I'll have to
I'm
check
telling
it
you.
out.
I'm telling
taking
you.
notes.
I've had scotch and whiskey all over the world, and someone bought this for me, and I go, Japanese whiskey. I said, okay, fuck it, I'll try it, bro. I was like,
I got
the fuck?
That's awesome.
I got the whiskey bug about a year ago. I just celebrated my 2nd year of marriage yesterday. So,
congratulations.
Thanks, appreciate that. And I've seen your videos, man. So I know what you talk. I know what you say about marriage. So so.
It's all good.
I know it's all good. It's all
marriage
good.
is good. It's just how you go about it.
That's right. That's right.
No.
But my brother-in-law got me into whiskey, man.
Yeah.
It's just sad because it's such a beautiful thing, and it's just been turned into something so fucking stupid and ugly. And it's actually, it really upsets people when they learn how it works. And you know what? It should. It's a disgrace to God. I don't even care if you're fucking religious.
Yeah.
It's a disgrace to nature. It's a fucking disgrace is what it is. It's disgusting. But anyways, so, I'm still a little irritated. I'm pretty chill about everything. I'm not anti-government, but that marriage shit pisses me off, honestly. It's one of the only things that really does. The two things that really piss me off is the marriage certificate, the marriage license stuff, and then registration, car registration. Which is the motor vehicle theft prevention program from 34 USC 12611. It's just unbelievably
$200 to do my registration again.
Yeah, when you learn what that actually is and how that works, you're going to be. I'm not even going to talk about it because it's demonetization type conversation.
And I'm gonna,
another thing that pisses me off.
Yeah, I'm gonna put
pissing you off. Let me tell you something, Greek. So at the one of the intro videos that Brandon says is, look, I'm going to tell you some things. Yeah. And it's gonna piss you the fuck off. I'm just warning you. And about video 9, I wanted to punch a baby, and I don't punch babies. You know what I mean? So it's pretty bad. So you got to watch this stuff, man.
That's how I feel every time I watch Biden speak. I want to punch a baby.
We're gonna put links. We're gonna put links to all of Brandon's stuff, his website, and he's got an awesome course, guys. And that's actually how I found him.
His website's already linked in the description. Awesome. If you're watching on my channel, I couldn't do it on everybody's channel.
I'll throw it in. So we'll definitely make sure it's all there. He's got a killer course. It's called his Contract Killer Course. You guys have to watch all of his videos. I think it's what is it, about 30 some videos?
39, one per day.
Yeah, 39, one
it's
per
like
day.
24 hours of video, but over 39 videos over 39 days. And that's you're going to need that. There's some people who want to binge it all, but honestly, really, you're going to need that time in between. I think it's just, there's too much. You can't. You're going to fry your head like an egg.
You're not wrong, man. You're not wrong.
I tried to binge it, and you're right. I had to go back a few times and watch a couple of them over and over just to make sure I grasped it. The last thing I'll throw out there before you get started, Brandon, is I like how you started off and you're like, look, I'm no longer anti-government. And I'm anti-government. I think, once you realize what they're up to, I guess, before you know what you know, like you say, the source code, I would say this: the reason I was more anti-government because I was afraid of them. And after watching a lot of the stuff that you've been spilling out here, and I've been absorbing it, I realized I don't need to be afraid of them. I need to work with them. And as far as the code you're talking about, so now I understand what you mean by that. Now you're not anti. Hey, if this is the game, let's play it. You're right?
Playing by the rules that they set.
And just to be transparent, I've been giving probably 150 plus shows a year since the course was released. The course was released on July 2nd of 2022. So. Okay. This presentation is going to have a lot of information that's new, a lot of information that isn't in the course, and it's also very, very clean, very, very crisp. And that's for two reasons. First off, when I made the original course, it's a little bit disjointed, it's a little bit goofy, it's a little bit sloppy, but that's part of the beauty of it. It's like a beat up guitar that has a lot of character to it, right? Yeah. This presentation I'm going to give you is 2 years later, and it's like tons and tons of additional research. It's way more clear. It's very crisp. It's like boom, boom, boom. It's like a laser beam. I'm trying to get it down to the fastest and most powerful presentation available on the world. But the thing is that this presentation is like being in 6th gear going through warp speed, and your mind is going to be mush by the end. Whereas the course is like a nice, kind of skipping through the dandelions kind of a thing. It's a way more palatable in my opinion. So, and I have a lot of other shows and a lot of other things. So I do all sorts of different things at different paces, and some things are very serious and very like laser beam, and some things are more fun and jokey and opinionated. So I kind of try to do something for everybody. That's kind of what I'm trying to do. And the reason why is because I want to present this information in a way where everyone can enjoy it and want to see it, no matter their age or their demographic or their race or whatever. So that's kind of why I do what I do. But anyways, let's get rolling on this, and I'll show you guys this. This is the most updated version of this presentation. Okay. So the way that it works is when you type in anything into the internet, the first number is the title number. So if you go to the United States Code, it's divided into sections called titles, right? The title we're going to be looking at to get rolling is Title 28, right? We're going to be looking at several titles. Title 28 is Judiciary and Judicial Procedure. Okay, so the first number is the title, so 28, and then you have the body of law or code that you're looking at is the U.S. Code. This is a section symbol, this weird circle with an S top and a half S top and a half S bottom. And then we have the 3002. So this is the title number. This is the body of law of that title. So Title 28 of the U.S. Code, Section 3002 is how you're going to read this. And you can just type that into Google or anything. You got 28 space USC space 3002. You don't need the section symbol. You don't need USC is plenty for this. Okay. And you're going to scroll down to subsection 15. And we're going to see here United States means, and we're going to have here a federal corporation. Okay, so what is the United States? The United States is a federal corporation. Now, one of the most important things you need to understand when you're looking at all this information is the definition of the word person. You're going to see many different definitions all over the place, and we're going to clear up a few of them from Title 8 and from Title 26. I like the Title 26 definition, which is the Internal Revenue Code, which is the tax code, because they're very specific as to what types of artificial entities are included inside of the definition of the word person. You're going to see from Title 8, it's much more vague. So the term person shall be construed to mean and include an individual, a trust, estate, partnership, association, company, or corporation. So, for example, when you go and get a driver's license, it's not going to ask you what is your name. It's going to say what is the name of the person who is applying for the driver's license. Anytime you see the word person, your ears should perk up a little bit, and there should be some slight alarm bells going off in your head, because you got to think every time the word person is used, what the fuck are they talking about? Are they talking about an individual, a trust, estate, partnership, association, company, or corporation? If you go to Title 49, which is transportation, 49 USC, let's see, CFR 390.5T. I'm not going to get off on this because if we do, it's going to take forever. But if you look up the word, there's this whole driving versus traveling, and then they say sovereign citizen and all this fucking bullshit. That whole conversation can be summed up in 5 seconds. It's very, very simple. If you go to the Title 49, which is all about transportation, and you look up the word driver, driver means any person who operates any commercial motor vehicle. The definition of commercial motor vehicle is any self-propelled or towed motor vehicle used on a highway in interstate commerce to transport passengers or property. And then it just cuts off. Wind the vehicle, and then it just cuts off. I don't know why. But you can see here that most people are not driving or operating a commercial motor vehicle. Now, look at this. The definition of the word person, when used in the definition of the word driver, you think the last one was wild. Look at this one. Person means an individual, firm, corporation, partnership, association, state, municipality, commission, or political subdivision of a state or any interstate body, as well as a department, agency, or instrumentality of the executive, legislative, or judicial branch of the federal government. And look at this last one. This is the most important part. This definition includes railroads. So this definition of the word person from 49 CFR 130.5 is the definition that they're using in the definition of the word driver. So without getting into driving versus traveling, and without getting into all that, and without even talking about it, let me ask the people who are listening to this podcast a question. Are you a individual, firm, corporation, partnership, association, state, municipality, commission, or political subdivision of the state or any interstate body, as well as a department, agency, or instrumentality of the executive, legislative, or judicial branches of the federal government or railroad who operates, which has this gigantic definition, which we're not going to get into, any commercial motor vehicle defined as any self-propelled or towed motor vehicle used on a highway of any interstate commerce to transport passengers or property? The answer is fuck no.
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 Not no. Fuck no.
Fuck no. Yeah.
That's the answer to the question. Okay. So the word person has a bunch of different definitions and stuff like that. So we're going to be getting into that, but it's a very important word and you're going to see it a lot. You're going to see it on all the tax forms. You're going to see it all over the place. And you've never, ever in your entire life wondered what the definition of the word person means. And it's the number one word you should be wondering every single time you see it. So that's why I'm showing it to you. Okay. Now, if the word person is construed to mean and include an individual, a trust, a state, partnership, association, company, or corporation, and United States is a federal corporation, that means that United States is a
person. At least in the terms that they're talking about.
Yeah.
So when you say when you see United States versus John Doe, those are two persons that are suing each other. The person called United States is suing the person called John Doe. And you can look up all the lawsuits you want, United States versus this, that, and the other thing. And you'll see every time in the jurisdiction and venue section of the lawsuit, it'll say that United States, per the definition, is a person. And that's just normal. Like no one's ever questioned this. Okay. Now we're going to find out where is that person called United States located. We're going to go to a different body of law called the Uniform Commercial Code. This one's a little different. So it goes by articles instead of titles. So Article 9, Section 307. Same shit, just a little bit different wording, right? We're going to go to subsection H, location of United States. The United States is located in the District of Columbia. Do we know where? Do we know how large? Essentially, it's like this. You have what you know of as the United States of America, and it has these different states inside of it, such as California or Texas. The way that it works is the District of Columbia is a super state. And then inside of that super state is a smaller sectional state called United States. We don't know how big it is. We don't know how large it is. We don't know what shape it is. It could be in the shape of a cylinder. It could be in the shape of something like Oklahoma, where it has a long panhandle, whatever the hell it's called.
Or shaped like a penis.
Or it could be shaped like a penis. It could be shaped like anything.
Yeah.
It could be shaped like a butterfly or a star or a seashell. I don't know anything. We don't know.
And you've dug and you can't find the answer to that, correct?
Well, yeah, but I mean, we'll see. Maybe one day I will. Yeah. But yeah, so far I have not been able to find the exact coordinate location / shape / anything. It's in the District of Columbia someplace. We don't know where. I don't know where. Okay. So how does someone become a United States citizen, right? The answer to that question comes from 42, Title 42, United States Code, Section 9102. What is Title 42? Title 42 is the public health and welfare. Subsection 18. Now, one thing I find fascinating is if a state, partnership, trust, association, company, or corporation is a person, then it logically, could a corporation or an estate or a trust be a United States citizen? 42 U.S.C. 9102 subsection 18 subsection C is very clear. Any corporation, partnership, association, or other entity organized or existing under the laws of the United States is a person, thus is a United States citizen. That should be pretty wild for most people listening to this if they're new to the information. Okay. Now, you're talking about an individual. You aren't talking about a trust, an estate, a partnership, association, company, or corporation. I'm about an individual. United States citizen means any individual who is a citizen of the United States by law, birth, or naturalization. Now, for this show, I've realized a few things this past week. Does it say anything here about location of a physical body? Does it say anything here about domicile? Does it say anything about here about your home or where you might be located or where you travel to work or that you're in a certain location 6 months out of the year or any other horseshit that most people believe makes you a citizen or resident of a state or the United States?
No, sir.
It does not.
The answer is no. It's by law, by birth, or by naturalization. By law means operating under the laws of, which you do voluntarily when you sign up for an articles of incorporation for a corporation or anything else. By birth is tough because who's to say you were born in the United States? It's some unknown location inside of the District of Columbia. So I wasn't born there. I don't know if you were, but I wasn't. And then we have what I would consider to be the only way, really, that you can become a United States citizen, in my opinion, is the term naturalization. Most people believe that naturalization means that you live in a certain location for, like, let's say 7 years, something like that. That's not even remotely close to anything that has absolutely anything to do with the definition of the term naturalization. Now, shockingly, the definition of the word naturalization comes from Title 8. Title 8 is entitled Aliens and Nationality. Makes sense. Okay. Now, there's a definition section. It's very, very long. You can see it's endlessly long. It's called 8 U.S.C. 1101. Inside of this definition section of Title 8, which talks about nationality, we're going to find the definition of naturalization, which is found in 8 U.S.C. 1101, subsection A21. And it is the most mind-blowing thing you've probably ever seen in your entire life. To the point where you're not going to believe me and you're going to walk around in a daze thinking that the whole world is fucked and you don't know what to do with yourself for the next probably what I would consider 30 to 60 days.
Yep.
I walked around like a zombie madman for 60 days. All I thought about all day long was this definition and how it could be and how it couldn't be, and looking up every fucking word of everything in this definition in every fucking dictionary that has ever existed since the dawn of humanity. And this definition means what it says. There's a lot of weird things. There's a lot of weird definitions. There's a lot of weird secret definitions and secret meanings of things. This definition doesn't have a whole lot of that. In fact, less of that in this definition than almost anything you're ever going to find. Actually, it's extremely transparent, actually, shockingly. The term naturalization means the conferring of nationality of a state upon a person after birth by any means whatsoever. Now, typically, this is the point in the show, especially with new hosts that have not been familiar with my information. They start going on long questions where they start saying, well, what if this? Well, what if that? Well, what if this? And I just kind of fuck with them. And I say, well, shockingly, that would fit under by any means whatsoever.
Yeah.
And they give me probably 3 or 4 of those. And then they realize that no matter what they give me, I'm going to give them the same answer. And then they stop asking questions. With you guys, you guys are already familiar with this, so you're not going to do that. So the thing is that now, like I said, the definition of person, we've already cleaned up 2 different definitions, one from Title 49 of this Code of Federal Regulations and one from Title 26 of the United States Code. Now, Title 8 of the United States Code has a little bit more vague and open definition, but it's very similar. Definition of the word person means an individual or an organization. So it doesn't go and specifically list all these things or say you could be a railroad. It's a lot more open and vague. It could be any organization, including a railroad, or any individual. Okay. So if we reread it and we use that definition in place of the word person, the term naturalization means the conferring of nationality of a state upon an individual or organization after birth by any means whatsoever. So that means that every person has a nationality. That includes railroads, trusts, estates, partnerships, associations, companies, corporations, or God knows what else they're going to cook up. Your corporations, when you open them, and you said they were being opened in state of Texas, you conferred the nationality of state of Texas upon a person, corporation, after birth by any means whatsoever. And you can get very specific, and you can say, like, what if the corporation hadn't been created yet? Then it wouldn't be naturalization because that person hadn't been born yet. And it says after birth, not before birth. You can't confer nationality on a person that hasn't been born yet. It's very literal. So where I usually go from here is I say, okay, so you click on the word state, and it's just horse shit.
Who would have thought?
The word state includes the District of Columbia, Puerto Rico, Guam, and the Virgin Islands of the United States and the Commonwealth of Northern Mariana Islands. This is not a definition. If you look up the definition of the word definition, this is not a definition.
Yeah.
It's like saying, what's for dinner? Well, dinner includes orange juice. I got it, bitch. What's for dinner? What the fuck? And I'm not trying to be sexist. I'm just trying to be silly. It's like, I love women to death. It's like, you know, it could be anything. Like, what's wrong with your car? Well, your brakes are good. I got it, you fucking asshole. My car's making noise. There's a fucking orange light on. What the fuck is wrong with my car? I know my brakes are fine. I got the fucking thing over here. What the fucking thing is smoking? Why is the fucking thing smoking? Oh, well, it's not your tires. Okay, bitch, give me my keys. I'm leaving. Do you see? This is not a definition. This is horse shit. So what is the definition of the word state? So the definition of the word state is, you know, it's convoluted as shit. But basically, if you go to Black's Law, I have all this shit cold here. Otherwise, it takes me forever. You're going to see in the free course, I'm hunting around and singing because it takes forever to find all the different definitions. So I have them all kind of cold here for ease of use. And, you know, I do recommend that everyone go to the actual dictionary and look these up for yourself to verify that I'm not an idiot or crazy. But I will be using my own website for this. So the word state, we're going to go to this here. When you look up the word state in the dictionary, it says here, in its largest sense, a state is a body politic or society of men. It's not very useful. It's like giving another weird definition for it. You're not really getting anywhere, right? So you go to body politic and it says state or nation or public association. So again, you're getting kind of circular. So I was looking around and I was trying to find a definition that actually works. And I found this definition of the word nation. So state and nation mean the same thing. Body politic means this. It's all the same shit. It's a bunch of different words. They all mean the same thing. So what is this thing? This state, this nation, this body politic, whatever. A nation or state is an independent body politic, a society of men united together for the purpose of promoting their mutual safety and advantage by the joint efforts of their combined strength. But every combination of men who govern themselves independently of all others will not be considered a nation. A body of pirates, for example, who govern themselves are not a nation. To constitute a nation, another ingredient is required. The body thus formed must respect other nations in general and each of their members in particular. Such a society has her affairs and her interests. She deliberates and takes resolutions in common, thus becoming a moral person who possesses an understanding and will peculiar to herself and is susceptible of obligations and rights. So what is this? It's very simple. It's the same way that a whole bunch of cells work together as a form called a human body. Billions or trillions or quadrillions of cells, all operating in this like perfect functionality with all of these organs and all these things. And then you have this particular intelligent essence called an individual that operates this meat body thing through space. And, you know, it's this whole fucking gigantic, massive operation, actually, right? So a nation is a bunch of individuals that work well together internally with internal tranquility, and then they work well externally. Now, you'll see in this definition, they go into a gender change here. Now, I personally believe that the reason why the word person includes estates, partnerships, trusts, associations, companies, and corporations is because the word nation involves those things. A state is an estate is a nation. A company is a nation. An association is a nation. These things are all nations. They operate as as one person. It's a bunch of persons or people operating as one person, and they start genderizing it here in the definitions. Society has her affairs and her interests. So it's as if that body is like a human body filled with cells, the cells being the individuals, right? So a nation has nothing to do with location or territory or space. A nation could be an online Call of Duty clan, could be a nation. And you could have your own coat of arms, and you could have a whole legal section of bank accounts. Your family, you see it in Scotland. You know, one thing I realized this last week is you go back in time, especially in places like Scotland, you have these castles and these coat of arms, and you have these families that have these whole diplomatic arms. It's because that family name is a nation, and the coat of arm represents family of fill in the blank. Yeah. That family is a nation. And as long as that nation follows the definition of nation and has good internal and external tranquility and you know, it's legally its own foreign nation. We're going to get into that shortly. Okay. So if we take this definition of nation and we go back to the definition of naturalization, I'm going to replace the word state with the word nation because they mean the same thing. And I'm going to replace the word person with the definition of person from Title 8. And you're going to finally see how simple and how crazy this actually is. The term naturalization means the conferring of nationality of a nation upon an individual or organization after birth by any means whatsoever. Whatever your shit and you and everything you own and all your corporations and all your estates and all your railroads are wherever the fuck you say they are. And if you say they're someplace else 10 minutes from now, they're now there. And if you say they're in 3 different locations all at the same time, they're all there now. If you say that one of your corporations is located on Jupiter, legally, that corporation is now located in Jupiter. If you say that that corporation is located on Jupiter, Mars, and Saturn, legally, that corporation is now naturalized into Jupiter, Mars, and Saturn. I am not fucking kidding with you. It does not say anything in 42 USC 9102 about the location of a human body or the body of a natural person. That has absolutely nothing to do with the situation at all. And if someone brought that up in a court of law, I would stand up. I would say objection. I would say irrelevant. Completely fucking irrelevant. If you are not conferring the nationality of a nation upon an individual or an organization after birth by any means whatsoever, anything you tell me about the location of anything is all false irrelevant, and has no basis in law whatsoever. Now, what does that mean for you? Wherever the fuck you say you live, wherever the fuck you say you are, wherever the fuck anything you have or own, or any artificial person or entity you say you have or own, or actually, in fact, anything you don't own or have, you can renaturalize fucking Starbucks. If they don't rebut that statement of naturalization, Starbucks is now legally located on Saturn, Mars, and Jupiter. Which I know is completely fucking insane, but I don't think anyone can disagree. We live in an insane world, and I'm trying to figure out why. Okay? This is why. Now, some people may say that's crazy and stupid and ridiculous. And some people who have more brain cells, in my opinion, to rub together might say, well, holy shit, that means I have the ultimate power. I like it. I like the system we're in. This is why I'm not anti-government. The government says that anything I say is the word of God. I got no problem with that. Sure, great. That sounds great to me. Sign me up. Where do I sign up for this? My word is the word of God, and I can instantaneously move anything, anywhere. Great. That sounds fantastic. That doesn't sound like tyranny to me. That sounds like you work for me. So I love the system. I love the way it is. I love Title VIII, and I'm in full agreement with how this works. And I operate, and I use this all the time. I use this in my lawsuits. I use this in all my corporations, all my contracts. I use this everywhere. And I don't have any issues because nobody fucking knows any of this fucking information. So they just think I'm either completely batshit insane or I'm a fucking genius. And I don't care which one they think. They can think one or the other or both. Okay? So if that's what naturalization is, and that's what a U.S. citizen is, then you say, Brandon, that you're this other thing that we've never heard of, that there's some information on the internet that says that you're all these crazy things and crazy people and sovereign citizen and all this. So what is this other thing that you're talking about? It's called a national. The word national isn't even capitalized. You can see it here. It's an 8 USC 1101 subsection A21. The term national means a person. Same definition, Title VIII. We're still in Title VIII. So it's an individual organization owing permanent allegiance to a state or nation. Very simple. The only part of this that we don't know yet is the word permanent, which we can't click on. Thank God for Cornell. They plug everything in for us beautifully. You won't see that other places. You have to go and dig if you want to find the special definitions. Boom, we're going to click on permanent. The term permanent means a relationship of continuing or lasting nature as distinguished from temporary, but a relationship may be permanent even though it is one that may be dissolved eventually at the instance either of the United States or of the individual in accordance with law. It doesn't mean a fucking thing. It means that, I don't know, it doesn't mean anything. It's an oxymoron. It's permanent, but you can eliminate it whenever you want, and so can we. Fuck you. It doesn't have a definition then. So you just remove it. It doesn't mean anything. So if we reread it now, we're going to remove the word permanent. We're going to replace the word person with the definition of Title VIII, and we're going to replace the word state with the word nation. The term national means an individual or organization owing allegiance to a nation. It's like so simple. It doesn't require thousands of hours of conversation or even 5 minutes of conversation. It doesn't require any conversation. Whatever you pledge allegiance to, boom, you're now a national of that thing. A national of Zimbabwe. A national of Jupiter. A national of California. A national of France. It's a national of anything. It could be a national of what they use in the passport endorsement page. They say global women's issues. It could be a national of global women's issues, which I'll cover a little bit. It could be a national of anything. It could be a national of the United Nations. The United Nations, if someone had pledged allegiance to the state or nation called United Nations, They would be a national of the United Nations. The word national is not capitalized. So it's a non-proper noun. It's interesting that they don't capitalize it. It's interesting. It makes sense, actually, if you think about it. Mm-hmm. Whereas the word U.S. citizen is capitalized. So what is allegiance? When you look in Black's Law and you look up the definition of the word allegiance, I have it here in one of my documents again, because it's going to take me forever to find it. The Black's Law second edition definition is: by allegiance is meant the obligation of fidelity and obedience which the individual owes to the government under which he lives or to his sovereign. For example, it would be a king or queen or something like that in a monarchy. That's why they use that term sovereign here. In return for the protection he receives. Now, here's the most important part, in my opinion. It may be an absolute and permanent obligation, or it may be a qualified and temporary one. So you believe, many people believe, that pledging allegiance is this absolute, infinite, undefined thing. Couldn't be farther from the truth. Allegiance is a contract, and that contract is entirely and completely definable by your own terms and boundaries. The definition of the term definition is essentially boundaries. Like, if you don't have a definition for a term, there's no boundaries. It's just, it could be anything. Lassoing the definition of a term means to give that term boundaries. No, it only means an orange car or a red car or a blue car under the weight of 2,000 pounds, you see? And you could just say it's a slabber blammo or whatever. You can make it up, right? And you say a slabber blammo is any vehicle that's either red, blue, or green that's under 2,000 pounds. And now we have what's called a definition. All definitions are by definition some sort of boundary associated with the meaning of something. If it's like man or woman, they're trying to make man or woman mean anything and everything. Well, that's literally the opposite of what the definition of definition is. A definition is a limiting idea of what something means. So by definition, not having a definition would not be a definition. Right? So the thing is that when you contract, which you have the infinite ability to contract as you see fit, you define what allegiance means for yourself. And then United States, the person called the United States, has the right to approve or deny or qualify or change that contract or whatever. They never do. You could say literally anything and they'll accept it. But my point is that at some point in the future, maybe they won't. And they have the right to do that, right? It's called international relations. We are now into international relations, okay? So the only way you can become a United States citizen is by saying one. And if you're not a United States citizen, you can be a national. And to become a national, you pledge allegiance, and that allegiance is defined by you. It doesn't mean you live in United States. It just simply means that you're pledging allegiance to the United States within the confines of your own definition. Okay, and as of right now, you could write literally anything. You could write insane shit that makes you seem like a psychopath, and they will accept it. Now, I think that's going to eventually change, but for right now, that's kind of the way it is with the Department of State, which I think is kind of sad. That means that no one's even reading it, and they're just approving it without reading it, which is stupid. But I think that's going to keep going like that for a while. So feel free to write whatever you want, and they're going to approve it and issue you passports and all the good stuff. Okay, so if you pledge qualified and temporary allegiance, that means that you are a national of a state or nation. United States is a state or nation that is located in the District of Columbia. If you would like to pledge allegiance to that state or nation, you become a national of the United States, which shockingly, the definition is very clear and is covered right in the next item we have here in 8 USC 1101 in subsection A22. The term national of the United States means A, a citizen of the United States, or B, a person who, though not a citizen of the United States, owes permanent allegiance to the United States. Okay. Now we're going to look at 22 CFR 51.2. Who is a passport issued to? Well, this is pretty shocking for most people. People think that a passport's only issued to U.S. citizens. And actually, what's funny is we get a lot of letters from the Department of State that say that we can only issue a passport to a United States citizen. That is completely fucking false. You can sue them and you will always win. It is blatantly, obviously, insanely false information. The true information comes from 22 CFR 51.2. The name of the goddamn title of the section is passport issued to nationals only. And then subsection A passport may be issued only to a U.S. national. And what is the definition of passport? I'm a little curious. Passport means a travel document, regardless of format issued, under the authority of the Secretary of State, attesting to the identity and nationality of the bearer. Does it say conferring the nationality of the bearer? No. Attesting to the identity and nationality of the bearer. Nationality is the conferring of nationality of a state upon a person after birth by any means whatsoever. Attesting to the fact that someone or something or they have conferred the nationality of a state upon themselves or someone else, or had that nationality conferred upon them by someone else after birth by any means whatsoever. They are literally just attesting to the fact that that's occurred. They are not conferring the nationality of any of this shit upon you. They are simply attesting to the fact that it has occurred, that somebody somewhere has done this. That is what a passport is. Passport is ridiculous. I am going to start creating my own for my own nation with my own coat of arms, entirely custom from scratch. And if anyone believes that it will not be accepted, I will take them to an Interpol court or we will figure it out. We will figure that out, because that is fucking ridiculous. You will be accepting my own personal customized passports of my own personal nation.
That'll be interesting.
Yes.
That'll be interesting.
That will be fun.
From Jupiter, right?
From Jupiter. I'm on Jupiter, and you will accept this. And if you don't, we're going to have some fun. We are going to tango. Okay. So a passport may be issued only to a U.S. national. A national is a person who owes permanent allegiance to a state, and United States, or U.S., is a federal corporation located in the District of Columbia. So you say the term U.S. national, and this one says national of the United States. It's the same thing. And then you go to an I-9 form, an I-9 employment verification form. This is what you fill out when you get a job, for not for like your little podunk spots, but like a major company. They're going to give you one of these. Box 1 says a citizen of the United States. Box 2 says a non-citizen national of the United States. So we have these three terms. We have the term U.S. national, which we see here in 22 CFR 51.2. Passport may be only issued to a U.S. national. We have the term national of the United States from 8 U.S.C. 1101 subsection A22. And then on the I-9, we have a non-citizen national of the United States. It's very, very simple. You have U.S., you have national, okay? That's covered here, but that could mean two different things. On the I-9, they're being very, very, very specific that it's not subsection A, it's subsection B, a non-citizen national of the United States. B, a person who, though not a citizen of the United States, owes permanent allegiance to the United States. Now, this you could say the same thing by saying I am a U.S. national as per only subsection B of 8 U.S.C. 1101 subsection A22. But a less complicated way of saying it would just be to say a non-citizen national of the United States. That's being very, very specific. You're saying I am subsection B. I am a person who, though not a citizen of the United States, owes permanent allegiance to the United States. Now, what do you need to have or be to get a passport? It's also very clear in 22 USC 212. It says the same fucking thing in slightly different language. Persons entitled to a passport. Who's entitled to a passport? They say 8 USC 1101 subsection A22 in just a slightly different way. No passport shall be granted or issued to or verified for any other persons than those owing allegiance, whether citizens or not, to the United States. Do you need to live inside of North America or the United States or even be on planet Earth to pledge allegiance or owe allegiance to a nation called United States?
Nope.
Absolutely fucking not. I could be on a star outside of Mars and I could owe allegiance to the United States. So what does that mean? Anyone can get a fucking U.S. passport. If you pledge allegiance, you can have a U.S. passport. If you have a U.S. passport, you can operate a car, not as a driver, not as a fucking railroad operating a commercial motor vehicle. But if you are not those things and you aren't all that ridiculousness and you're just, chilling and you're just, cruising around in a car for non-commercial purposes, then you can use a passport for that. You can use a passport for international travel. You can use a passport to get into bars and identify yourself to get into a bar. You can use a passport to open up bank accounts. You can use a passport to do fucking anything. You can use a passport to get a job. You can use a passport to do anything that anyone else who's living here can do. You don't need a fucking social security number. You don't need anything. You don't need dick. All you need is to pledge allegiance to the United States, and you can pledge allegiance in a limited and qualified way, and they will accept it. And then you get a passport, and then with a passport, you can do literally fucking anything. Okay? Now, if you look at the I-9, this is for employment eligibility verification. This is to verify that you can work in the United States. If you go down to the second section here, we have lists of acceptable documents. Now, you need to prove two things to work in the United States or the United States of America. It's very confusing. It's actually two different countries. One's incorporated, one's not. But you need to establish identity and employment verification, employment authorization, identity and employment authorization. So list A are various documents or things that prove both of those things inside of that single document. List B are documents that establish only your identity. And list C are documents that establish only employment authorization. So you have to have one document from list A or one document from both list B and list C. Point number one of list A, and the only motherfucking thing that you need to show absolutely fucking anyone, even though they think that you need to give them all this other bullshit, such as a social security number, which comes from list C. You don't need to give them that or anything. They don't need fuck all. All they need is a U.S. passport or U.S. passport card. How do you get that? By pledging allegiance to the United States. What's the definition of allegiance? It could be limited and qualified. And you could honestly write up almost gibberish. And sadly, which I think is very incorrect and improper, they will approve it. I think that's ridiculous. Personally, I don't think that should be operating that way, but that's the way it currently operates because literally no one, even in the passport office, knows any of this information, which is pathetic as fuck.
Yeah.
But that is the world we live in. You could write hobble-globbin, blah, blah, blah. I love alphabet soup. I love the tomato flavor of alphabet soup. And I'm telling you, they'll approve it.
Approved.
Which is fucking
Stamp
stupid.
it.
That's funny.
Fucking stupid. So
now I've got
there is no such thing as illegal aliens. There's only aliens who have not conferred the nationality of a state upon themselves after birth whatsoever, and also aliens who have not had the nationality of a state conferred upon them by another after birth by any means whatsoever, which is fucking weird. Because if the corporation is a person, can a corporation confer nationality on an individual? I don't know. I would say yes.
Mm-hmm.
So even if Starbucks wanted to say that they confer the nationality of state of California upon you after birth by any means whatsoever, they don't need a fucking work visa. You're a naturalized U.S. national and you're entitled to a passport. A passport's good for 10 fucking years and you can work all you want. Visas, and green cards, and all this stuff. It's all bullshit.
It's crazy, man.
So at that point, we'll break because I have some questions, and then we'll get back into the second part of the presentation, which is taxation.
Yeah, so I was going to say, Brandon, I appreciate you definitely going into a lot of detail that you didn't really get to cover in the videos that I had seen, and I can understand why.
Well, a lot of this is and after that, I've been, like I said, I've been giving like 130 presentations a year. So over the past, keep in mind, it's been almost 2 years. I'm going to have my 2-year anniversary for the course is going to be July 2nd. So we're almost there. Cool. So keep in mind, it's every day, all day long for an additional 2 years. And I was only, so 6 months would have been March 14th. So I was only, so 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 5 months. So 4.5. So I was only 10.5 months in when I did that first course from 0, 10.5 months. And now I'm 2 years post even that. So you can see that this has evolved into like a 45-minute presentation that's more powerful than like the whole fucking course, a huge chunk of the whole course combined, because of all these other things and definitions and more clarity that I've found over the years. And this is what it's kind of evolved to at this point. So anyways, but any questions?
I can absolutely see that, from watching the course and then seeing this, I'm like, you're definitely cutting the fat. And I completely understand the definitions. So back regarding the passport. So I've got the passport, I've got the card and the booklet, right? And I know we'll probably be getting some questions soon after we're done with the full presentation here.
Oh yeah.
But I did the whole, got my passport as everyone does. And, so I'm curious to when I reapply for this thing, 'cause I just got it renewed. Like, I think last year, I think I got it renewed, so. I remember what you were saying in your present in the videos that that people with those with a passport or a non-US citizen, right, with a passport has a lot more pull, a lot more, I would say, rights or more things that are available to them than an actual, like someone like myself who did the old-fashioned way, I think, and I'm sure you're going to get into that, right? And that blew my mind, because it's like I'm going around with my passport for years. I've traveled all over the globe. I've been to Japan, right? And I'm a U.S. citizen. Here's my passport, and not even realizing that it absolutely means squat.
Well, a U.S. citizen means that you basically work on behalf of the District of Columbia, and when you research a lot of the USC codes and stuff, no matter where you're at in the world, a United States citizen in terms of the United States basically is essentially a resident of the District of Columbia.
Yeah, that's what blew my mind too.
Which is wild. Yeah.
Which is for those of you for the first time hearing that, if you actually read or look into what he's talking about, it really blows your mind. Yeah. How nothing is what it seems. And it's on purpose, and until you actually
the ultimate mind fuck.
Yeah,
is what it is.
United States is a state.
Yeah.
That state is located in the District of Columbia. The District of Columbia is an entirely different country that's based off of an incorporated basis. The United States of America, California Republic is not incorporated. So what they did is they created this corporation called United States, which is located in the District of Columbia, and they get people to naturalize into United States. And they define naturalize as by simply just saying it. So if you say you're in the United States, legally you now live in the District of Columbia. And then they open up a bunch of other subcorporations called State of California, State of Texas, State of Tennessee, State of Utah, State of Maine. All of these corporations, and I can do another screen share, are all businesses that are located in the District of Columbia. Yes.
For-profit corporations.
Yeah. So if we go on to, I just shared my screen. If you just approve that, I can show it to you.
There you go.
If we go to Dun and Bradstreet, we're going to see that it's literally a business. dnb.com/business-directory. We're going to find the business called State of California. State of California has a Dun and Bradstreet number. It is a fucking business.
Wild.
That is located in the District of Columbia. So when you sign up for voter registration, when you get your driver's license, they make you sign under penalty of perjury that you are a resident of State of California. State of California is located in the District of Columbia. Naturalization is the conferring of the nationality of a state upon a person after birth by any means whatsoever. They are enticing you to naturalize into the District of Columbia. You are abandoning willingly and voluntarily all of your rights and all of your standing as a true American, because the District of Columbia is not part of the United States of America. It is the super state above the corporate state that has nothing to do with the Constitution, has nothing to do with the Bill of Rights, has nothing to do with the Second Amendment, called United States. And when you're in the United States, you have to pay income tax and have a permit to buy or carry a firearm. The Second Amendment does not protect firearms. The Second Amendment is the right to bear arms. It's not the ATA, alcohol, tobacco, and arms. It's the ATF, alcohol, tobacco, and firearms.
There's a reason they get specific like that.
Yeah. All of the words are different. There's a few people who have been floating around the world wondering, well, why do we have the sheriff and the police? Why is there two different systems? This is why. The police is a private security force working for an incorporated zone called the District of Columbia. Inside the District of Columbia is a place called State of California. State of California has something called the CVC, otherwise known as the California Vehicle Code. When you confer the nationality of State of California upon yourself through voter registration, driver's license, or any other means, by any means whatsoever, you are now contracting willfully and voluntarily into the California Vehicle Code. A ticket that they're going to write you on the side of the road is a lawsuit for breach of contract of the California Vehicle Code. If you aren't naturalized, they can't do that. So, for example, I don't live in the state of California. I don't live in the United States. And I've pledged very qualified allegiance because I do want a passport. And I do want to help, and I don't think that the government's fucked. I think there's a lot of problems. But I want to help, and I want to try to fix as best I can. I don't care if if the government changes or gets smaller or bigger or what. I don't care. I just want to help clean some of this up. That's it. It's very simple. I don't have an agenda. I really don't care. I think most Americans don't like this stuff. And I think as they learn more and more about it, they're not going to be too happy. But where that leads to, I don't know. I don't care. You want to get rid of all of it. You want to keep it. You want to change it. As long as people are aware of what's happening and people are aware of the contracts they're signing and they're asking questions and they're understanding these words, terms, and phrases more, wherever we head, I think it'll be a lot better than where we're at now. But where that's going to be, I don't know. I don't really fucking care, honestly. Okay. So you got to realize that a citizen of the United States is somebody who literally says they are a citizen of the United States. It's a fucking, that's it. That's the end of the story. Right. So you have 18 USC 911. I had a company recently try to hire me for some landscaping services. And they're like, oh, we need a W-9 form. If you look at the W-9, which by the way is a naturalization form, very, very simple. We're going to look at the W-9. This is what most people sign when they get a job. Here's the, sometimes they sign them even once a year. If you go to part 2, it says here under part 2, you're certifying under penalty of perjury, which is a felony, that I am a U.S. citizen or other U.S. person. And then right here at the signature page, we have signature of U.S. person. Now, if you aren't a U.S. citizen and you aren't living in the District of Columbia and you haven't naturalized or you don't want to be there or you would like to be an actual American and actually have a Second Amendment, you aren't a U.S. person or U.S. citizen. You are a non-citizen national of the United States, but only if you're willing to pledge allegiance to the United States. If you aren't willing to pledge allegiance, you aren't even that. You are none of these things. You aren't a U.S. citizen. You aren't a U.S. national. You aren't a non-citizen national of the United States. You are none of these things, and you don't get a passport, and you're in for a rocky ride. You're going to have a hard time doing almost anything. If you would like to pledge qualified and limited allegiance to the United States, you can get a passport, which allows you to do fucking everything, and you can have a very easy ride. Now, that choice is up to you, but you sure as fuck are not a U.S. person or U.S. citizen. That's for damn sure. Okay. Now, when you willfully and knowingly know this information, which no one does, but now that you do, if you sign anything stating that you are a citizen of the United States, you are violating 18 USC 911. Whoever falsely and willfully is a very key term here, so you have to actually understand this to be guilty of this felony, represents himself to be a citizen of the United States shall be fined under this title or imprisoned not more than 3 years or both. But this is fucking hilarious too, because you are a U.S. citizen by simply saying you are a U.S. citizen. So how could you possibly misrepresent yourself? If you say you are, you are. So I don't even know how someone could be guilty of this personally. I suppose the only way you can be guilty of this is if you agreed that you were guilty of it. I don't know how else you could possibly be guilty of this. Because if you say you are a U.S. citizen, bada bing, bada boom, by any means whatsoever, you are instantaneously, congratulations, I guess, you're fucked now, a U.S. citizen. It's very simple, right? Now, to answer your question about passports is a very, very fascinating, very detailed, very fascinating, very interesting conversation. We have 22 CFR 51.3 types of passports. Now, I forget where I saw it, but I could have sworn somewhere that in Title 8, they talk about how every single person, which again is an individual or an organization, is entitled to have one of each type of passport. We're going to go over 4 different types because there are 4 different types. So as far as I remember, which I don't remember exactly where I found that, each individual or organization may have 1 to 4 types of passports. You can have all 4. And your company can have all 4, and your trust can have all 4, and your other trust can have all 4, and your company can have all 4, and your corporation can have all 4, and your partnership can have all 4. And heaven forbid, if you have a railroad by chance, that railroad may have all 4 of these types of passports. Number 1, a regular passport. A regular passport is issued to a national of the United States. This is the one that everybody gets. You don't realize it, but everyone, the 10 years typical passport that everyone pretty much is going to get is the regular passport. Okay. Now, again, a national of the United States is A, U.S. citizen, or B, a person who, though not a citizen of the United States, owes permanent allegiance to the United States. You can see that on the DS-11 passport application form in the signature section. I declare under penalty of perjury all of the following. 1, I am a citizen or non-citizen national of the United States. A U.S. national is a citizen or non-citizen national of the United States. It's one or the other. A service passport is issued to non-personal services contractor traveling abroad to carry duties and support and pursuant to the U.S. government. And then we have an official passport, which has 4 subsections. An officer or employee of the U.S. government, a U.S. government personal services contractor, a non-personal services contractor traveling abroad, or a state, local, tribal, or territorial government traveling abroad to carry out official duties in support of the U.S. government. So you're still representing the U.S. government, even though you are not part of the U.S. government. You could be a tribal government traveling abroad to address things on behalf of the U.S. government, and you would get an official passport subsection 4. Okay. And then we have the diplomatic passport, which I went into a lot of research on this for a long time. And I found out through my own research that a lot of the diplomatic stuff is all commercial based. So I actually pulled a lot of my research, and I don't even recommend getting one of these anymore, but you can have this one as well as the other ones all at the same time. So now I realize that I may actually get back into that research, because I thought that you could only have one or the other. It turns out you can have all the above. So fuck it, just get all of them. So I haven't done that yet, but that's probably where my future is going to be. Diplomatic passport is issued to a foreign service officer or to a person having diplomatic status or comparable status because he or she is traveling abroad to carry diplomatic duties on behalf of the U.S. government. Now, they don't say it here, but when you start reading into this a lot, it's very commercialized, which I didn't like. So I didn't want to go in this direction personally that much, because the non-citizen national regular passport, in my opinion, actually gives you more diplomatic immunity than even the diplomatic passport. This is a very vague area. There's a lot of information here that is hidden and classified, so I don't have all the answers. But if you look on the DS-11 passport application form and look at the form in great detail, down here it's very, very clear. It's got this gigantic blue line. Don't fuck around below this line. This is all for for us to fill out. And you don't sign until a certain time. You go down here. Please do not write below this line for issuing office only. They're very clear as to where you're supposed to fill out and where they're going to fill out. Well, heaven forbid, right next to your fucking name, right in the fucking yellow, orange, shit-looking fucking color where you're supposed to fill it out. Obviously, we have these little boxes that no one's ever fucking asked anything about and nobody knows anything about. The passport office doesn't even fucking know about. DOSNFR-END.#EXP What in the fuck is this? Nobody fills this out. What is this? This is the 4 different types of passport.
Holy shit.
Diplomatic, official, service. S is for service. And then NFR is no fee regular, which we're going to get into in a moment. Now END.pound comes from 8 Foreign Affairs Manual 505.2 passport endorsements, unclassified document. This document shows you all the different types of passport: diplomatic, official, no fee regular, service. And it also says that these particular there are certain endorsements that apply to all types. So this particular endorsement can apply to all types of passports. And as far as I'm concerned, now the passport office says that I'm full of shit, but I think through litigation, we're going to find out. At some point, I will litigate. I haven't done it yet. That I'm not full of shit. This is window shopping. And what I mean by this is that you can just fucking literally select whatever the fuck you want. Like, for example, My favorite's number 11. But you can see here, look at number 9 is very interesting too. Number 9, the bearer is a United States national and not a United States citizen. Placed in a passport book issued to a U.S. national who is not a citizen. U.S. national will be printed inside of USA on the front of the passport card. Prior to this creation of this endorsement in 1992, the bearer's status as a non-citizen U.S. national was indicated by circling the word national or crossing out the word citizen in the secretary's message on the signature page of the U.S. passport. So before 1992, the way that you became a non-citizen national is by going down to the signature page and crossing out the word citizen or circling the word non-citizen national. It was that fucking simple. In 1992, they changed it and they added this endorsement code 09. So what would you do if you wanted this particular endorsement is you would check the box NFR, and in END pound, you would write 09 for the endorsement code 09. The bearer is a United States national and not a United States citizen. Now, my favorite is 11. The bearer is an ambassador at large, which is the highest level of diplomatic immunity. There's a bunch of different levels, and you start studying it. Ambassador at large is the highest level of diplomatic immunity. And if you want to look more into that, diplomat and consular immunity guide. Now, I have it on my website, but fuck it. You can just go straight to the Department of State. This is not some fucking secret. Boom. Right here, we've got the whole fucking guide. This is the diplomatic and consular immunity guidance for law enforcement and judicial authorities. And they go into detail about U.S. nationals, non-citizen nationals of the United States, ambassadors, consulars, staff, everything. And if you go all the way down to the bottom, and it's not that long, it looks like a lot, but it's just a lot of like pretty pages and pretty pictures and pretty text. I mean, I printed this out, put it in my car because I want to make sure if I get pulled over, it's going straight in the cop's fucking hand and he can deal with it. So if you go down to what my favorite is, this is a fucking grid of diplomatic immunity, right? So if you go down to the various levels of diplomatic immunity, you can see that the highest level of diplomatic immunity available is the ambassador or ambassador at large. You can't fucking touch an ambassador at large, bro. It'd be diplomatic agent would be the one for ambassador at large. Arrested or detained? No. Enter residence subject to ordinary procedures? No. Now, on this first one, we have a subnote, number 1. We're going to go down to the subnote number 1. What does it say? Reasonable constraints, however, may be applied in emergency circumstances involving self-defense, public safety, or the prevention of serious criminal acts. So besides that, don't you fucking touch. Okay?
So you'd have to do some real fucked up shit for them to.
Yes. Or be around.
Yeah.
If you were near like a terrorist explosion and you know, I don't know why they'd want to cuff you. I mean, I guess that would just be justified, but it would need to be something insane going on, right? Sure. Now, this is another example of how a nation is not a location or territory. The example they give for endorsement code number 11 is ambassador at large for global women's issues. Global women's issues is a nation. That nation does not have territorial location. Doesn't need to be. It's not part of the definition of the term state or nation. People think, oh, state, that's that thing that looks like a fucking giant cock on the lower west side of fucking United States called California. No, it's not. Yeah. It's nothing like that. It is a group of individuals working together with the internal tranquility and external tranquility for the betterment of mankind and other groups. Period. End of story. Whether it's California, whether it's an Indian reservation, you've heard about Indian reservations and casinos, they don't pay taxes. They don't, because they are separate nations. It's the nation of the Chippewa tribe. They are legally full-blown governments. They are full-blown nations. They operate through the Department of the Interior. They are not part of the United States. They are all United States nationals. They don't live in the United States. They don't have a tax liability. They run casinos that do not pay taxes legally. They sell cigarettes that are legal to sell without paying a tax stamp. It's all legal. It's a nation. Indian reservations are a nation. Okay. So how does that work? 18 U.S.C. 11. What is the definition of a foreign government? Oh, people always tell me, oh, they're just never going to believe all this. They're never going to operate all this because it's all tyranny. It's all about. It's not. You're fucking retarded. You never read anything. You assume things, and you jerk yourself off, and you jam foreign objects up your ass because you're a fucking retard, just like everybody else. The answer to the question is 18 U.S.C. 11 defines the definition of a foreign government. It is very clear, and I think you're going to like the definition. I love the definition. This is the thing that makes me the most non-anti-government person ever. The term foreign government includes any government, faction, or body of insurgents within a country with which the United States is at peace. And here's the music to your fucking ears. You've been seeing these things on TV, on Channel 7, these micronations that have been coming out that don't have any legal capabilities. They are useless, and they have not been recognized by the United States. That's actually libel and slander. You can sue the news station because the definition of foreign government is irrespective of recognition by the United States. Recognition has fucking nothing to do with anything. You would immediately stand up in a court of law and you would say, objection, irrelevant, and if you continue, it'll be a libel and slander suit. Mr. Fuckwad, that is it is so fucking irrelevant. The idea that your nation needs to be recognized by fucking anyone is the most irrelevant, psychotic, insane statement that anyone could possibly make. Your nation does not need any recognition by the United States to be legally classified as a foreign government. There's only one thing that it needs to be at peace. It's very simple. So, okay. So what is the legal definition of the term peace? That's the secret to everything. Obviously, we've gone this far. So obviously, whatever the definition of that thing is the secret to everything, because that's what achieves true sovereignty. Because if I'm at peace, then I'm legally completely I'm my own deal. I'm the king of whatever I want to fucking make up. The answer is that's true. So what is the definition of word peace? We have the legal definition right here. Peace. The tranquility enjoyed by a political society, internally by the good order which reigns among its members, and externally by the good understanding it has with all other nations. Applied to the internal regulations of a nation, peace imports, and imports means like shows or indicates. Peace imports, in a technical sense, not merely a state of repose and security as opposed to one of violence or warfare, but likewise a state of public order and decorum. So what does that mean? It doesn't mean that you're just sitting there, sitting on a cucumber and jamming a cucumber up your ass. It means that you are actively operating with decorum and public order. You are actively reaching out and helping others. You are actively improving diplomatic relations or attempting to improve diplomatic relations with external groups and operations. The definition of peace is not passive. The definition of peace is active. So if I had to redefine the definition of the word peace, is that you involved in all the various groups that you involve in, whether it be an online club or whatever, are actively reaching out and improving the lives of others and other groups. To me, that is the legal definition of the word peace. And if you fit that definition, congratulations, you have a foreign government. And the way that you move yourself and your trusts and your estates and your partnerships and your associations and your companies and your corporations into that nation is by simply conferring the nationality of that nation upon these persons after birth by any means whatsoever. Congratulations, you now have your own sovereign kingdom.
Makes sense. I mean, it does, but it doesn't. I mean, I love how you bring receipts, man. I love how you throw the information out there and you go right to a definition to back up what you're saying. It's not like you're talking out of your ass. And that's, yeah.
In terms of naturalization, you have the UN Declaration of Human Rights, Article 15, subsection 2. So let's say you want to naturalize. Let's say you want to naturalize yourself and one of your trusts to Jupiter. And let's say that someone says that's bullshit. Okay. UN Declaration of Human Rights, Article 15, Section 2. No one shall be arbitrarily deprived of his nationality nor denied the right to change his nationality. If anyone would like to stop me from creating my own nation or naturalizing any person that I would like to naturalize literally anywhere, it is an international human rights violation, and I will be getting involved in international courts, Interpol, whatever I have to do, because it's an international human rights violation. No one can stop you from naturalizing into anything. And naturalization means just saying whatever and boom, you're there. It's literally that simple. You are only in the United States because you say you're in the United States. There's no other way you can get there because the physical location of the United States is undefined. The only way you can get anywhere, state of California is undefined. The only way you can get there is by conferring the nationality of state of California upon a person after birth by any means whatsoever. Your physical body and the domicile and the residence, none of these things, it's all objection irrelevant.
Yeah, I think you said in your course, you said, the United States is basically in a file cabinet in District of Columbia.
Yes.
Right along with state of California, state of Texas. It's a piece of paper in a filing cabinet.
Exactly. So if you go to taxation now, which is the last part of this presentation, we're going to go to 26 CFR 1.871-1. We're going to find out how does taxes work with all this. For the purposes of the income tax, alien individuals are divided generally into two classes, namely resident aliens and non-resident aliens. Now, it's funny. They don't say resident. They say resident alien. It's almost as if like they don't want you there. Like, fuck you. You're kind of there, but like, fuck you, right? Like, it's funny. Why the word alien? Resident alien. It's an oxymoron. It's like saying sovereign citizen. You can't be both.
Sovereign.
How can you be a fucking resident alien? I'm an alien, but I'm a resident? Like, you don't want me here? Fuck you. I'll leave. Right. You know what I mean? Resident alien? What the fuck? So, and a non-resident alien, I'm not even fucking there. Fuck you. Why are you calling me an alien? It doesn't even make sense.
Yeah.
Resident alien individuals are in general taxable the same as citizens of the United States. That is, a resident alien is taxable on income derived from all sources, including sources without the United States. That's what everybody thinks they are. You are those things because you said you were, and I'm going to prove that even doubly. This is going to blow your mind. This is basically the same fucking thing, and it really backs up the whole idea of naturalization. However, non-resident alien individuals may elect to be treated as U.S. residents for purposes of determining their income tax liability. You fucking volunteered. You signed up. And most people signed up by filling out a W-9 tax form.
Yeah.
My daddy told me to do that, man.
Yeah. Yeah.
My CPA dad said do it.
That's what I mean, right?
Yeah.
Now it's funny, the IRS never told you to do any of this shit. It's some other fucking retard. Not to be mean to your family, everyone's going through. I've done this. I've been the retard. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I'm just saying, the IRS never told you to do any of this. The IRS just stands by and snickers and smoking cigars while they're collecting all your money. But they never directly forced you to do anything. The DMV never forced you to go in and get a driver's license and become a person, which could be a fucking railroad that operates a commercial motor vehicle. Nobody ever put a gun to your head and said, you have to go in there and get this thing. You thought in your head, oh, well, if I don't, I'll get in trouble, blah, blah. It's all assumptions. It's all made up. It's all horseshit. It's all delusion. In the world of psychology, they call that delusion. It's a delusion. You never needed to go in and get fuck all. You never needed to go in and get a driver's license. You never needed to go in and get fucking anything. In fact, you never even needed to go in and get a fucking passport. I'll go down to the fucking docks right here and I'll pay some fisherman, whatever, and I'll be on some ship and I'll fucking fish and I'll make it to wherever the fuck I want. I don't need a fucking passport. Doesn't matter. So if you think about it, the 13th Amendment made involuntary servitude illegal. We live in a completely voluntary system where people are delusionary in believing that it's involuntary. None of it is involuntary. It's all completely voluntary. You were eating fucking McDonald's, driving a 1992 Acura with your dad, having a grand old time to go down to the DMV to get your first driver's license. The Nazi patrol did not have you shackled and transported in some bus with there's nothing about that transaction that occurred that is involuntary. There is the delusion that made you believe it was involuntary. No one ever came to you. The IRS never said, congratulations, you're 18 years old now. You need to sign up for this horse shit. No one ever did that. It was some CPA or your dad or some idiot at a fucking company that had no clue what they were doing. And you believed the dumbass. The IRS was never involved in that transaction. All they did was receive a form and process it. You were under the delusion that you had to do this thing. There is no information anywhere that says that you have to fill out any tax form. And there's a whole fuck ton of different tax forms, some of which most people have never even heard of. I had a corporation, I was starting to tell you about it earlier. They wanted to hire my landscaping company and they wanted me to fill out a W-9. I said, whoa there, Buck Rogers, let's pump the brakes for a moment. I said, if I fill out a W-9, I'm inviting a violation of 18 U.S.C. 911, which is up to 3 years in prison. You wouldn't be trying to put me in prison now there, would you? I said the correct form that I'd be filling out is called a W-8EXP form, which I'll show you. You have to approve my share screen again.
And he said, what the fuck is that?
They showed it to their lawyers and they didn't have a fucking clue. And they said, we don't know what the fuck you're talking about. Please issue a refund. And I could have sued them for breach of contract and discrimination and I would have won. That's a lot of work. So I didn't do it. And I don't give a fuck. Fuck them. They can keep their bullshit. Okay. So when you have a foreign trust, like for example, once you confer the nationality of a state outside of the United States upon the all caps name, which is actually a corporation, which we didn't get into, you would be filling out what's called a W-8BEN form, which is for a foreign beneficiary for an individual. Now, for a trust or an estate or a partnership or an association or a company or a corporation that's foreign, you would fill out what's called a W-8EXP form. Now, this is a cool ass form, bro. Check this out. So you have the name of organization, country of incorporation or organization. So for here, I put the nation of. Now, you would never believe this would be approved by the IRS. It's approved by the IRS without a fucking single phone call, email, or question. Because the definition of a fucking nation has nothing to do with anything. It's whatever the fuck you say it is, That's what it is. I am naturalizing right now, right? So let's say we have name of organization, my landscaping company or trust. The name is Droughtscape. So it'd be the Nation of the Amnesty Coalition. It is a foreign tax exempt organization. You could also say it's a foreign private organization foundation. You could say this would probably freak out my clients, so I wouldn't click on that one, even though it's technically true. And then you could also click this one if you wanted to, but it's whatever, right? And I don't know what all this is, but I would just look this up, maybe this one. And then here I would put 123 Purple Monkey Lane, and that's in the Nation of the Amnesty Coalition. Country is Amnesty Coalition. Mailing address. Now the mailing address is different because you can't mail me at 123 Purple Monkey Lane. So here I'll put my PO box. If you want to actually contact me, go ahead. This is not where the organization is located, but if you'd like to contact me, you can be more than welcome to. 91209, and then we have your country would be California Republic. Now check this out. The name, the location of the actual beneficial owner, I am naturalizing by conferring the nationality of a state upon a person after birth whatsoever here. But mailing address, I'm not doing that. They're saying what is the permanent address? What is the actual legal naturalized address? Mailing address is totally different. People always wonder, like, why the fuck do they always ask for an address twice? One is the naturalization address. The other one is the mailing address. They can't mail me at 123 Purple Monkey Lane, but that's where the fucking thing's located. And it's located there because I fucking said it is. End of fucking story. If you want to mail me something in the mail system, you can't mail me at this other address which exists because I fucking say it is. Fuck you. You have to mail it to this one, which is a different address. You see? TIN number, none. Doesn't have one. Fuck you. I don't know what this is, and I don't know what this is, so I'm not going to fill it out. I certify that this is blah, blah. It is because I say it is, so I'll certify all fucking day long that it is. Check the box. And then, I don't know. I would need to read through all this. I haven't filled one of these out because they didn't want it. They wanted a refund.
They wanted to run.
They wanted to run.
They wanted to run. Yeah.
Which I thought was a lot of fun. And then I would sign right here. I'd be more than happy to sign this. I wouldn't be worried one fucking bit. I'd sign without prejudice. By Brandon Joe Williams. Print my name. Date it. I'd send this motherfucker straight to the IRS. You know what? They will process it. And there won't be a single fucking issue. They give me EIN numbers. They give me whatever the fuck I want because I am naturalizing these things. And I'll tell you right now, the only organization I'll probably never sue, and I'm going to sue everybody, it's probably the only one that I'll never sue is the Internal Revenue Service. Because when I confer the nationality on whatever the fuck I want, they never fuck with me. They never ask me questions, and they give me everything I want immediately. They're the only fucking organization that does that. Everybody else, right? Everybody else fucks with me and asks me questions, and I'm gonna fucking sue everybody till the day I die.
And they all diss the IRS.
Yeah. And everybody hates the IRS, and you know I'm the only one out there that will tell you I ain't got a fucking problem with the IRS. I got a problem with everybody else. You know who I have a real fucking problem with? The DMV.
I'm sure.
Oh yeah.
You want to know who I really don't like? It ain't the IRS. It's the fucking DMV. They are naturalizing everyone into the District of Columbia. I'll go so far as to say The driver's license is the modern day star they put on the Jews during the Holocaust. And I know that's very strong language.
No, that makes sense. So,
in my own head, I am not even exaggerating to try to create an effect. I truly, truly in my heart believe the driver's license is one of the most evil things. The driver's license and voter registration, in my opinion, are the two most evil things in our entire republic. Because if you go on to voter registration, I can show you that. I can show you. Let me do another screen share to prove it.
The revocation of election, and you didn't cover any of that either, right? So.
Oh yeah, I can go over that too. So like we saw earlier, that however a non-resident alien individual may elect to be treated as a U.S. resident for the purposes of determining income tax liability. If you go on my Nation of the Amnesty Coalition and you go down to the resources page, there's a bunch of cool documents here. One attached to the passport application, blah blah. You can revoke that election. And the actual legal terminology would be revocation of election to be treated as a U.S. resident for the purpose of determining your income tax liability. You elected to be treated as a U.S. resident. This document eliminates and annihilates that election that you made that you did not know you were making. You can fill this out. You can swap out my information, and you can put some information here, and there's not much to do here. Just swap out a few words and a few names. You're going to get this notarized, and you're going to mail it out to two different locations. One location is your local IRS center. The other one is to the commissioner. And you're going to send it certified mail, make them sign for it. As soon as they sign for it, congratulations. You are no longer you have no longer elected to be treated as a U.S. resident for the purposes of determining your income tax liability. You are now a non-resident alien. A non-resident alien individual, if they are not making money from sources within the District of Columbia, does not have a tax liability. If you look at 26 U.S.C. 7701, subsection A14, we will find the most deadly term that the IRS loves to use constantly. It's the most annoying fucking term in the world. The term taxpayer. Term taxpayer means any person subject to any internal revenue tax. If you go on to one of the things that your friends and family will share with you all the time is the frivolous, I don't even know how to spell it, tax arguments, IRS. This website is just packed full of all sorts of information talking about everything that I have shared with you in this particular presentation. Now, they're always going to use the word taxpayer. They've changed this. Let's see. A to C, and then they have D to E, right? So let's see how many times is the word taxpayer used here. 107 times. Look at it. Everything is a taxpayer. So what they're actually saying in normal English is, like, for example, let's just read one of these and get a good laugh. Though a handful of taxpayers, blah, 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 blah. Taxpayers should not mistake, blah, 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 blah. Taxpayers. So what they're saying is, if you were to break it down into normal English, they're saying persons who are subject to internal revenue tax believe they are not subject to internal revenue tax. Taxpayers have this thing where they say that United States, blah, 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 blah. But the thing is, they already used the word taxpayers. So they already said that persons who, so the thing is that I'm not a taxpayer. And neither are any of my trust, estates, partnerships, associations, companies, or corporations, because I've naturalized them in a way where they're not. So the thing is that nothing in the frivolous tax argument section has absolutely anything to do with anything that I'm saying, although most people would believe it does because they don't know the definition of the term taxpayer. That is their secret weapon, the word taxpayer. Every letter they ever sent you, if you go and look at it, it'll say, "Dear taxpayer." You are not a fucking taxpayer. I mean, you can even look up trade or business. Look at this. What's the definition of a trade or business? This is another one that's going to make you laugh. The definition, the term trade or business includes the performance of the functions of a public office. Okay, bitch. I didn't ask what's okay with my car.
Right.
I asked you, why is the fucking thing smoking? Stupidest fucking thing I've ever heard in my life. Includes the performance of the functions of a public office. I got to tell you, when there's this much fucking retarded bullshit, and then the definitions are vague and they're full of horse shit, that means there's something to hide. Okay? Surprise, surprise. Let me tell you, if there wasn't something to hide, it wouldn't be like this. Okay? It's all horse shit. And the thing is that when you start asking a lot of fucking questions, people go away from you very, very quickly. You terrify them. You don't need to be a big tattooed fucking crazy man. You just need to ask questions, and they will run from you like you are a leper. You think sense. COVID? You think these people are scared of COVID, man? You know, you start asking questions, you're worse than COVID.
It does seem like everywhere that they're very vague, that's where you really need to dig deep.
Yeah.
It truly does.
Yeah, most people never even read that stuff.
Yeah, well, most people don't go this in depth. They just make assumptions and state, it's here on the map, like you said.
Yeah, you're forced to pay tax.
Yeah,
you're forced to.
Yeah, no doubt. So if someone were
I do not have now. There's a big difference. Do you pay your taxes? It's a very interesting question. Meaning, there's an assumption that I have a tax liability. There's an assumption that there's a bill that you have or should have gotten that you didn't pay. So in law, that means that there was a previous obligation that you failed to perform on. You see, it's a very clever way that they word it, right? But when you look at like what we just saw, they use the word tax liability. I am not a taxpayer. I am not subject to any internal revenue tax, and I do not have a tax liability. So I wouldn't say, oh no, I don't pay my taxes. I would say I never got the bill in the first place. I don't have a tax liability. I don't even file a tax return, because why would I bother wasting time reporting a zero just so that people can work to file a zero? There's nothing to report. There's no liability. There's no tax liability. You see? So do I pay payroll taxes? No, because I don't live in the corporation, which is located in the District of Columbia, called State of California. Do you pay state taxes? No, because I am not a resident of, nor have I naturalized into State of California, which is a corporation located in the District of Columbia. Do you pay federal income taxes? No, because I'm not a resident alien and I never naturalized into United States. I am a non-resident alien individual and I don't have a tax liability. Do you pay sales tax? No, because I am not a resident of the corporation called State of California, located in the District of Columbia. You can only get to these places by saying you're there. The location of your physical body has absolutely nothing to do with any of this at all. You are where you say you are. Your estates, trusts, partnerships, associations, companies, corporations, or railroads are where you say they are. Actually, it's even crazier than that. They are wherever anyone says they are, unless that assumption is rebutted. That's actually the real definition. It doesn't say that the conferring of nationality of a state upon a person of which you own or control or yourself. It just says literally a person. You can confer the nationality of a state upon anyone or anything or any estate or any trust or any association, partnership, company, or corporation. And now the person who controls that particular entity has to rebut or negate or file in opposition of that naturalization. If they don't, boom, congratulations. You can move Starbucks, Apple, Microsoft to wherever the fuck you want, anytime you want, and if they don't rebut it, they are now naturalized to that location. That's the way it works.
That would be interesting. Now is the sales tax, like Jacob 13 here says, how do you not pay sales tax when it's already programmed into the register at, say, the grocery store, wherever you go? Is that an argument that you even bother having sometimes, or do you just go ahead and
transactions? For small transactions, no, absolutely not. Especially because
Yeah.
The basis of everything is diplomatic relations. So the last thing you want to do is start making a big scene and making hell out of a restaurant bill to save $4. That's not that violates diplomatic relations, which is the ultimate backbone of everything, right? But now let's say I'm buying a car, or even when I bought my mattress, it's a large expense, or even when I bought computer parts or anything like that, anything above, let's say, $1,000 or $2,000. Oh, you bet your ass. You bet your ass. I'm going to file, hey, I'm sales tax exempt. Like, for example, on Amazon, I'm sales tax exempt for life. They have this little column. Right. They have these columns. It says date of sales tax exemption initiation, and then date of sales tax exemption expiring. And on mine, it says the date that it started, and then for expiring, it's just a fucking dash. There is no limit to my exemption.
I was going to ask about the car, so I'm glad you brought that up.
Yeah, so cars, all sales tax can be avoided. There's many different ways you can do it. Every state's a little bit different. There's also a card that you can get from, I believe, the Department of State. I don't know a lot about it. I've looked into it a little bit. I've sent a couple emails that were ignored, blah, 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 blah. Now, just to keep in mind, a lot of what I do, although it is entirely legal, 99% of people think I'm completely insane. So the way that works is I know that what I'm doing is completely legal. I have to litigate to get almost anything done. Yeah. That's kind of the world that I live in right now. Okay. So a lot of these crazy fucking things, like, for example, if I wanted to get a passport for one of my trusts and I wanted to have the trust listed on the fucking passport, technically that's legal. No one's ever done it. I would have to litigate and beat the piss out of the Department of State. But I guarantee you, through litigation, I can get a passport issued for a trust. Guaranteed. That's what the law says.
Unless they change it at some point.
They're not gonna change. The INA, a lot of the Title VIII stuff, the last time they changed that was like 1952. And honestly, they reorganized a lot of things, but none of it has a whole lot to do with all of this. This shit goes all the way back to the 14th Amendment and the slaughterhouse cases, which is a series of Supreme Court cases where that's when the citizenship was divided into these two subsections, the federal citizen and the state citizen, which now has become the U.S. citizen and the U.S. national. That whole thing happened in 1871. So this is not anything new. We have had two different classes of citizenship since 1871.
Yeah, that goes way back. Yeah. And again, everybody listening, we'll link to Brandon's course, all the information that he's talking about, so you guys can figure out how to do this type of thing for yourself. So Brandon, if somebody wanted to, and obviously I think the most attractive thing for people watching is the taxes, right? Everybody hates taxes. So in order to do that revocation, do you have to go through the process of becoming a non-citizen, what is it? A non-citizen national before you can do that revocation?
It's all together, because in the revocation of election, you are stating, like, for example, just to show one more thing, I can show you one more thing. I'll do a screen share. There's another section of the United States Code that is pretty cool and shows another thing that is very, very interesting. You have 8 USC 1401 and 8 USC 1408. So 18 USC 1401, this is pretty cool. This shows you that nationality and citizenship are obviously two very different things, right? So 8 USC 1401, this shows you the different things that someone has to be nationals and citizens. The following shall be nationals and citizens of the United States at birth. Whereas if you go to 8 USC 1408, this one is the opposite: nationals but not citizens of the United States at birth. It's the same shit, just opposites of each other. Yeah. 1, 2, 3, right? So what's funny is that if the United States is a public corporation located in the District of Columbia, you have here in 8 U.S.C. 1408 nationals but not citizens of the United States at birth, subsection 4, a person born outside of the United States and its outlying possessions of persons, one of whom is an alien and the other a national but not a citizen of the United States. Now, this is so fascinating because then you go to the DS-11 form. You got to think about this. It's so crazy. They don't verify if your parents are United States citizens. They simply ask you on the fucking form, U.S. citizen, yes or no. Why the fuck are you asking me? You're the goddamn Department of State. What the fuck?
Right.
Are you testing me?
Right.
No. This determines whether or not you are a person born outside the United States and its outlying possessions of parents, one of whom is an alien and the other a national but not citizen of the United States, who prior to the birth of such person was physically present. Anyways, if you're outside the District of Columbia and you check no for U.S. citizen for both your parents, congratulations. 8 U.S.C. 1408 subsection 4 applies to you. You are a non-citizen national of the United States. We live in a voluntary system. You check the fucking box.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm a fucking victim of the government. Blah blah. You check the fucking box.
Yeah, and Brandon does have a video that takes you through the entire DS-11, how to fill it out line by line. He goes in depth. Like I said, he goes over the entire form for you to actually go through this process, which is really cool, man. Like everything this guy's doing, he's doing for free, right? Yeah. I know you've mentioned Dan Pena. I love that guy, man.
I love Pena.
Yeah, I'm a big Dan Pena fan. And for free, man. I mean, his course is free. Everything this guy does is free. I mean, he's been on hundreds of podcasts putting this information out there, and the first time I heard it, it just grabbed my attention. I'm like, yeah. I've always been thinking something's just not right with how things are. Like this doesn't seem normal. Like I can't believe that this is how we're supposed to be.
Because no one in the government, no one in the passport office knows any of this. You know how many letters people get that they say like, "Oh, we're sorry, we can't approve your passport because we can only approve passports for U.S. citizens." Bro, that's just not. I've literally proven that time and time and time again on this show. That is completely untrue, and there's so many spots in Title 8 that explain that is not true. That is not true. And if you go to the passport office, they think you're crazy. They think you're a sovereign citizen. They think only fucking passports can only be issued to U.S. citizens. Passports are only issued to U.S. nationals. Only. They can't. Yes, a U.S. national could be a citizen or non-citizen national, but the thing is that they are only issued to U.S. nationals, not only issued to U.S. citizens. A U.S. national is two different categories, one of which is a U.S. citizen, yes, but that's false. That is false information. And which one you fall into, it's all on you, brother. It's which one would you like to have? Which box would you like to check? Yes, it's convoluted in terms of which boxes and how you do that, but ultimately, you select which one you want. The real coercion is in getting you to select the U.S. citizen box and be proud of it. That's the coercion.
Yeah, that's the psyop. That's the mind fuck right there. Yeah, no doubt, man. Whew. It's a lot, man. It's definitely a lot. And just so everybody knows, I know you heard Brandon say the term sovereign citizen. That is a complete oxymoron and not a thing.
Yeah.
It is not a sovereign citizen.
So the word national, as per 8 U.S.C. 1101 subsection 821, means a person owing permanent allegiance to a state. So in terms of the United States government, if you owe permanent allegiance to any state, you are a national of that state. So for example, let's say you come over here and you have a Russian passport and you're from Russia. you are a national of Russia. And then now, if you want to pledge allegiance to the United States, you can be a national of Russia and also a national of the United States. So it's not a one, there's a lot of people like who talk about having multiple passports.
Mm-hmm.
Multiple passports means you are a national of multiple nations. So I am a trinational. I am a national of my own nation called the Amnesty Coalition. I am not a citizen of the Amnesty Coalition. I am a national of the micronation called Slowjamistan.
I saw you got your passport, Slowjamistan.
The Republic of Slowjamistan. So I have my passport for Slowjamistan right here, and I can show it to you guys.
Yeah.
Slowjamistan.
You got that from the Sultan, correct? The Sultan of Slowjamistan. Yeah.
Ooh, that's a nice passport.
Yeah.
I like that one.
Yeah.
I actually have two because I have an old one and then I needed some adjustments made, so I have two of them here. So
they actually let you send that photo that so you have that pickle.
Pickle outfit. Yeah. And if you look at the information, on this new one, because I needed some things clarified, you'll see that it says nationality. We have Slowjamistani /Pickletarian.
Pickletarian. Yeah. I saw
that. And then if you have, it says here, place of birth. Where was I born? I wasn't born in the United States. I was born in the unincorporated Indiana Territory, which is the original name for the state of Indiana. It's called the Indiana Territory. So it's the unincorporated.
Have you flown with that passport?
No, he says don't do it, but you bet your ass I will at some point.
I was gonna say that would be cool.
That would be
Film
cool.
it. Film it.
Especially if you go in with the pickle outfit on.
I know, there we go.
Definitely me.
And then under endorsements, it says ambassador to Nation of Amnesty Coalition. If you look at the bottom, it says that for the endorsement, right?
That's awesome. Now, are there other, I know the Amnesty Coalition is your thing. Are there other nationals in the Amnesty Coalition?
So everyone is a national. In the Amnesty Coalition, there are no citizens. I do not allow citizens. So every single person who is a national of the Amnesty Coalition is an ambassador at large of the Amnesty. There is no other positions. There are no other options. If you are a national, you are an ambassador at large. End of story. And that's why on my my Nation of the Amnesty Coalition page, you can order diplomatic license plates. I am working on a full website for the Amnesty Coalition. We will start issuing our own passports. It's probably going to be a little while before I do that, but we do have our own license plates and stuff. They're in relationship to the United States, though. So there's a covenant and there's a bunch of information. That information is attached to the DS-11 passport application form. Once the passport is approved, part of the contract for the passport is that you're letting the Department of State know that you are going to put the Department of State symbol on the license plate, and you are going to have special diplomatic license plates that you're going to create your own. And that's all part of the explanatory statement that you attach to the passport. Mm-hmm. So once they issue you the passport, they're basically already agreeing to those terms of the agreement. And then as far as I'm concerned at that point, then you can safely print those license plates and put them on your car. And you need a private motor carrier DOT number, which I do teach. There's also a guy named Joe Lustico who teaches the process. They are free. You do not go to the DMV for them. In fact, I'm probably never going to go to the DMV again unless it's to serve litigation papers, because they're about ready to get sued up the fucking wazoo by me. But besides that, I'm never going to the DMV ever again. You'll never see my face again.
That's awesome.
I'd like to get some plates for my motorcycle, man. That'd be freaking awesome.
There you go. Yeah, I have diplomatic plates on my bike, and I have them on my car as well. So I have it on both.
I saw that in the video, man. That's what kind of lit a fire under me. It's like, okay, this guy's he's not fucking around, man.
yeah, no doubt.
Well, we have thousands and thousands and thousands of these things have been submitted. So they're approving these passports. You know, if they don't want to read the documentation and they approve it without reading it, they're still agreeing to it. The documentation was attached and it was notarized. So, you know, they are agreeing. They are agreeing to the terms. Now on our end of the agreement is we have to be at peace. And that's why when you look at my explanatory statement, anyone who operates outside of being at peace automatically loses their ambassador at large status. So it's all self-governing. I don't need to do anything. If you're at peace, then you can retain ambassador at large. And if you operate in a way that's not at peace, then automatically, without me having to do anything, without the nation having to get involved, you automatically lose your ambassador status in terms of my nation. So it's all self-governing. There's nothing I need to do.
it's kind of how it should be, though, right? I mean,
yeah.
You know, and just so everybody knows as well, this is just scratching the surface. I mean, this goes way deep. I mean, we can get into the birth certificate, and I know you don't like the term straw man. I know you kind of tried to get away from that.
Straw man means a third party which holds property in intermission for the sole purpose of transferring it to another. It's basically escrow. Escrow and straw man have the same definition.
Yeah. So basically, how you have your all caps name, and if you'll see how Brandon writes his name, he writes Brandon-Joe : and then his family name.
Yeah.
So, get into how the birth certificate's a bond, and then he actually goes in deeper about our monetary system and how, the little green things in your pocket, they're not money. They're promissory notes. And it says it right on the damn, right on it. It says it.
Isn't that wild? I know.
Yeah, it is wild. And basically he gets into the credit system and just really deep dives, guys. So I definitely recommend taking his course. Jump on his website. The guy is, a genius. And really, I've seen this content from a lot of other people. You got your David Straight. You've got the Bad Wolf. What's his name? Lovett, James Lovett.
I love James Lovett. Yeah.
Awesome. I mean, all these guys are good, very informative. I will say, though, that Brandon, first of all, most entertaining, number one, most fun to watch. Because again, you're my kind of asshole. You're into cars. I'm a car dude. I like motorcycles, all that shit, man.
Dude.
I'm a mechanic.
Fuck yeah, dude.
Yeah. So definitely my kind of guy. But you just break it down so it's simple to understand. Like really, you just kind of
thank you. Yeah.
Yeah, you really dumb it down, man. And it's like I said, man, it's got my attention, and I'm telling people about it, and they think I'm fucking nuts too. They're like, "No way, this shit's real. No way, this shit's true." Like even my wife's like, "What?" And I did have a question for you about that.
Please.
So what happens if I go ahead and I go through the process? I send in my DS-11, and now I get, say, a 5-star passport, and I'm a state national or non-citizen national. So what at that point happens? Because I'm married, I still have the marriage license, which gets the government involved in my marriage, and my wife doesn't go through that process. I'm still kind of fucked, aren't I?
Well, there's two different persons. The definition of person is an individual, an estate, a trust, a partnership, an association, a company, or a corporation. So when you're born, and that birth certificate is processed by what's called the local health officer at the Department of Health and Human Services, there's what's called a public corporation that is opened of your name in all capital letters. The definition of public corporation, which is not a straw man, by the way, the definition of public corporation is a corporation that is opened by the state for political purposes and to operate as an agency in the administration of civil government. So it's not this horrible, evil, whatever. It's just this fucking like whatever kind of relay station between you and the government, and you can operate it and they can operate it, and anyone can kind of fuck with it however they want. So the thing is that when you learn how that works and you learn a relationship to that thing, it's not all that fucked up. And also through the process of naturalization, you can confer the nationality of any state upon that particular public corporation after birth by any means whatsoever. So you can move it around all you want, you can operate it all you want, and they just fucking let you, bro. They don't stop you or fuck with you or try to do anything. They don't do shit. So most people teach this as like, the all caps name is this straw man and it's evil and it's this and you got to get away from it. I don't do any of that. I don't think it's a straw man, and I don't think I need to get away with it. Get away from it. It's a public corporation, and I need to learn how to operate that public corporation as though I'm the CEO of it. That's it. And it works great for me.
Yeah. It's almost like you're the dude that reads the instructions for everything.
Yeah.
If that makes sense, so you know how to operate all the bells and whistles. Nobody reads the fucking owner's manual of a car. I think we all know that. You're the guy that does, and you can operate everything in that bastard.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
Like that's a great analogy.
I just bought a 2023 Triumph Speed Triple 1200 RS, and I actually did read I actually read the owner's manual.
Told you. See, I'm an owner's manual guy.
Sounds like a good time.
Manuals, man. I'm an owner's manual guy. Yeah. The Triumph's a nice bike, man. That's
I don't typically like Triumph. When I went there, I was going to get a BMW S1000 single R because I didn't want to be
why didn't you go with Beamer? I mean, I don't understand. I mean, over Triumph.
Well, I was literally, I just finished level 3 of the California Superbike School, and I had a fucking BMW jersey on.
Badass.
And I was trained on double R's, S1000 double R's. So I'm like, I have been planning to get a S1000 single R, double R for years. And I go in there and I test drove the single R. I don't want to be hunched the fuck over all the time. I ride my bike most of the time, and I just don't want that riding position. So I told the guy, I said, I want the single R. And he said, all right. He's like, I've been selling BMWs forever. He's like, you can test drive it. I test drove it. And I was like, yeah, that's cool. Whatever. Didn't have that thrill factor. Right. And he goes, look, I want you to ride a bike. I'm going to get the paperwork ready for this S1000 single R. He said, I'm going to get the paperwork ready, but I want you to ride this Triumph. I go, Triumph? What the fuck am I?
Yeah.
Why the fuck you have me ride a fucking Triumph? And he goes, bro, he said, trust me. I said, I mean, better than sitting here. Sure. So it was the 2023 Triumph Speed Triple 1200 RS. He was already preparing the paperwork for me to buy the S1000 single R. So I'm like, whatever, thinking nothing of it, thinking, I fought him for a while. I was like, I don't really want to Triumph. Why the fuck I was just like, what the fuck? I don't want to fucking Triumph. I got on that thing. I wasn't even like an eighth of the mile down the road. I wasn't even to the stop sign yet. And I was like, what the fuck is this?
Yeah.
I was like, what? Dude, I was like this, bro. Mm-hmm. Like almost barely pulling onto the fucking road. I was like, the seating position, the seat, it's like this kind of gel, but it's firm, but it's like also like I can go now that I bought the bike, I can go 2 hours without fatiguing on this fucking thing, right?
Yeah.
The riding position, you're forward a little bit, but it's not much. It's not actually aggressive. Very on a scale from 1 to 10, 10 being a double R. You're at like you're not like on a Harley or a touring bike, but you're at like a 2 or a 3, like a 3.5. I mean, it's very.
Where are your feet right under you, or just behind you a little bit?
Just behind you a little bit. You can tuck and you can get over if you really want to, and it's a little bit. I ride
a Ducati, right? I have the Diavolo V4, right? I'm a Ducati guy, and I've had the Honda, I've had the.
Like the CBRs,
CBR 1000.
The
doing that crunched over. I couldn't do that for much as I've gotten older. Me too, so I tried the Harley. Nah, man, just Italian bikes for me all the way. Yeah, of course BMW, but yeah. So the Ducati, the Diavolo V4 is the same thing. I was just like, fuck, man, this thing just has the power. And I can ride it forever, I mean, as long as it will take me. Yeah. But when you said Triumph, I think you were going to say Rocket, because that's kind of what competes with the V4.
Everything that Triumph makes, I mean, I would never ever buy anything from Triumph. I mean, it's just it's just like I've been riding and building bikes since I was like 11, bro. Man. I built my first motorcycle engine when I was like 12, and when the guy told me, man. When the guy told me Triumph, I was like, what the fuck? You think I'm going to fucking do? I'm trying to kill myself here, bro. You know what I mean? Like, fucking, like
level 3 freaking course,
like
man.
Like a Panigale. I just finished level 3. Let's fucking go. I went like an 1199 or something. But I said, fuck it. And I wrote it. And I'm telling you, it's a 1200 and it redlines at 11,500. So it's got a really low red line, but it's a 1200. So like basically the way that the Triumph 1200 operates is it's a bit of a dog. It's a bit of a dog. 4,000 from 4,000 to 11.5. It's ripping the soul from your fucking body. Like no joke, dude. I mean, it is like unbelievable. Because it's like it's kind of like a stroker motor basically. Because on a double R or something, you got nothing, and then at 9,000, 8.5, it wakes up, right? On this one, it's just from 4 all the way to 11.5. It's just fucked. And the torque is there. It's 1,200. 1,200. It feels like a fucking. It feels like okay. Take a Panigale. And just shrink the power band, but the power band is all there, like through the whole fucking thing, but it's a much smaller band. So I like that.
Yeah.
I'm not on the track, so I'm comfortable, It's very, very upright. It's a tremendous. Everyone who gets on my bike is like, wow, this is shockingly comfortable. And I'm like, I'm telling you. And then it's got torque for days. And the reason why is because
is it like a naked bike? Is it like a
it's a naked bike? Yeah, it's naked.
Okay.
Yeah. So normally you've got like a S1000RR, you got like 16,500 RPM. That doesn't even wake up till 8,500, right? Mine, the thing is the torque is linear. Mine is like a wheeling machine. It's just everything, just blah, 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 everything, which is great because it's like I have a 2009 Shelby GT500 with a 3.2 liter supercharger.
Yeah.
It's the same thing. It's the same thing. It's like you push the gas down in my car, you're going to fucking die. You roll the gas on the Triumph and you just feel this. It's like the whole fucking world is handed to you on a silver platter instantly. And I just love, that's why I don't have a turbo car. I have a supercharged car because I love that like
torque instantly.
I love that shit.
Turbo, you got to get up in the RPMs.
It's stupid. It's dangerous, and it's actually not really as applicable as a turbo is.
They're not
in
as
the real world.
Turbos aren't as reliable.
But it's just more fun. It just fucks with your head. It's just great.
That's why I like the electric cars.
Comes in out of work.
Yeah, well, electric cars are a whole. That's why you get that instant torque that rips your fucking skull off. But I'm not a big fan of the electric cars myself. I know I'll get smoked all day long by an electric car, but I like stick shift. I like straight pipe. My Shelby straight piped.
Well, you need to hear that rumble.
Yeah,
you know?
my bike
not only hear it, but feel it, right?
Yes.
It's about the same.
You get in the Model S and you hit it, and you're just flying, and you're just like,
well, wait until they release the fucking the Roadster. Have you seen
the Roadster's going to be sick?
Yeah, they're talking about sub 1 second, 0 to 60. Do you realize that's almost like actually damaging the human body? You're almost. Do you realize that's like it's badass. Don't get me wrong, but I don't know.
2.9
seconds 0 to 60 was crazy on the
I know. But anyways, besides all that, I don't know. I liked engines. I like shifting my own gears. Call me an old man, call me whatever. But the electric stuff is just not. Plus all the computers. When everything goes 15-minute cities, if it does go that way, I'm going to start buying carburetors, bro. Fuck all this. I'm done. You know what I mean? I'm going to take the goddamn computers out of the fucking thing.
Because nobody knows how to work on them anymore.
Yeah. I'm going to call all my old fucking gearhead buddies. I'm going to, you know what? Yeah, CarburetorNation.com, bro. We're fucking going. Yeah.
Yeah. I love it when you go to a mechanic now, they hook your car up to a computer and they're like, oh,
everything's OBD to it's
OBD. I want you to take a look at it with your eyes, damn it.
It's cool. Don't get me wrong. I see the benefits. It's just like, it's the same thing. Like I built my own computers. They're insane. I've got a RTX 4090 in this
over
one.
Here.
4090 already.
Yeah.
4090. So
I'm an IT guy, man. That's what I do daily, man.
Yeah. So my first profession was a Cisco certified network technician. That was when I was 16 years old.
I told you he's our asshole, dude.
Hey, man, that's hard to get, 16, man.
16 years old. But I was really, really, really into it. I was like fucking obsessed. I went to a vocational school. I was trained by a guy named Randy Becker, I believe his name is, and he was like a huge name in the Cisco world at that time. And he was retired, and he retired as a teacher. And I loved it. I was actually, it's a 1-year class, and I wrote a petition to him to get brought back for a second year, just to do the whole curriculum a second time. And he said, normally we don't approve this. And I said, look, I really, really want to just do this whole curriculum again. I don't care if it's the same one. And he approved it. And I went back for a second year. So I did the same program twice. And I was a Cisco certified by 16 years old, 17 years old. Yeah. So like, I like Windows, but like the thing is that for most people, like I'm dating a girl, taking a girl out, what kind of computer should I get? Just get a fucking Apple. Don't fucking worry about it. You know what I mean? Like, don't fucking worry about it. You know what I mean? Yeah. I would never own that shit, but I think most people should. Yeah, and I think that's kind of like
it just works, right? Like I'm in IT. I'm in IT for 20 years, and I serve, obviously Windows is my bread and butter. That's my bills. But I own personally Apple machines because I don't want to deal with the shit when I.
That's what I mean.
Yeah, I just want it to work, right? So yeah.
See, I grew up.
You're exactly right.
I'm 38. I grew up in the 90s. I grew up where it was like, okay, you buy a video game. Let's say you buy like Myst or Riven or Duke Nukem. You got to work fucking 2 days to get the goddamn thing to fucking work.
Yeah,
so the thing is that I kind of fell in love with all of that. I was like, oh yeah, I'm gonna bug it.
What's cool?
Hey, by the time it boots up and doesn't crash and I'm in the game, I'm like, whoo, look at me, I'm a genius. You know what I mean? Like,
but it's 2 in the morning. You got to go tomorrow. Like, shit.
Yeah.
Guess I'll try tomorrow. Yeah.
Trying to get like Phantasmagoria 2 to fucking work. It's like 18 discs. You know what I mean? FMV, the old FMX games. You know what I mean? Like, I'm just like trying to get fucking, Gabriel Knight 3. Sons of the Dam, trying to get it to fucking even boot up is like a fucking 2 year, running on my fucking Voodoo 3D FX fucking, that was my shit. That was my jam, bro.
Oh man,
I still get giddy just knowing that I can boot a game up without the building getting on fire. I'm like, woo, look at this, bro. I'm like,
it kind of made you feel like you accomplished shit,
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Like your friends are asking you to do it for you.
Exactly. It's like buying a car versus building a car. You buy a car, it's like, oh yeah, it's cool, whatever.
Yeah,
you build it, everyone thinks it's the coolest fucking thing in the world. The junkyard builds, and I'll tell you what, the only thing I can think of that could smoke a Model S is a fucking junkyard build. Those things are fucking, bro. You take like you guys had an old Miata, and they shoehorn and cut out the fucking firewall, and they're forcing
LS1.
like a 464 in the fucking thing, or a 460, and they shoehorn the goddamn thing into this death machine.
Mm-hmm.
That's a $9,000 car that'll just rip the fucking doors off of a fucking McLaren or a Lamborghini. Just rip the doors.
Oh yeah. Used to have there's a guy I worked with. He had a older RX-7, and he had like a 350 in it, stroked out. Like, it was insane, man. It was insane. Yeah,
that's like a 22
Power Glide
car, dude.
Yeah, Power Glide. I mean, the whole 9 yards. It was badass. Yeah,
so guys, I overdid it. I have to get going.
Oh, you're good, brother. You are good.
Stay on.
One of these days,
I'm gonna have a beer with you. I'm gonna dip out. I'm good.
Yeah, one of these days I'll have a beer with you, Brandon.
Hell yeah, I'd love that.
At some point, man. At some point.
Yeah, dude. You in California?
I'm on the complete other side, man. I'm in Maryland. I'm in Maryland, but I'll get at you. Yeah. I'll get at you. And before you go, I have to answer the question for my man Mike over here. He says, "What about buying arms? What happens when he, has his passport and he goes in to the gun store and wants to get a pistol? What happens at that point?"
There's a lot of different things that I've heard, like different states and different things. So if you look at a lot of the paperwork, it says, like, for example, the main basic like request for a firearm or whatever, it says like country of origin, and then it says like USA, and then there's a second box that says like other places, and then there's a little note. If you look at it, it says nationals can select USA, right? And then it says, have you ever like renounced U.S. citizenship, right? But you have to look up renounce. It's a whole different thing. You aren't renouncing U.S. citizenship, because as per 8 U.S.C. 1408, you are a national but not citizen since birth. So you never were a citizen to begin with. So how can you renounce something you never were? I get into every little word, bro. They want to.
So truthfully, you could say no, I haven't, and you'd be right.
No, I have not. I've never renounced citizenship because I never had the goddamn thing to fucking begin with.
Makes sense.
So the thing is, how can you renounce a job? Like, I never had that job. Fuck you. You see?
Yeah.
So the thing is that first off, you never renounced U.S. citizenship because you never had in the first place. And second off, it's not a firearm, it's an arm, which is complicated. I would just buy all my shit just private or build it. Yeah. I build all my own shit. I don't need to register it. And a fucking firearm. What the fuck I need to register it for?
And it's legal to build your own as long as you're not
legal
reselling
to build your own. Yeah. Now, as a U.S. national, it's a lot more legal to build your own. You could do almost whatever the fuck you want in any caliber. There's no rules.
Fully automatic.
You can go all the way. Now, again, as a U.S. national, you are involved in common law. So if you have a fully automatic rifle and you build it yourself as a U.S. national, it's legal. But then there's some people who, in my opinion, are kind of cocksuckers, and they walk around with it slung on their back because they want to fucking show everybody that what they're doing is legal. That gets
inviting.
That can get into a common law issue. Now in Texas, that's great. Go to the bar with your AR-15 slung on your back. Everyone's gonna love it, and they're gonna buy you a beer. It's gonna be the best talk of the town. Yeah. You do that shit in California,
Yeah,
or Maryland.
For better or for worse.
You guys are in the worst places to own arms, man. Honestly.
Well, I mean, California is not as bad as. I mean, honestly, California is actually really pretty awesome. I gotta tell you, it's really not like you see in all the fucking. You got to think first off, all the bullshit you see in the media and everything else is just sections of the biggest cities.
Yeah,
California is huge. It's not as big as Texas. Texas is really huge, but it's like saying Austin is Texas.
Yeah,
that's ridiculous.
Actually, in Texas, we say Austin is California.
That's what. Well, what's funny is Austin isn't California. I was just there for 3 weeks, but regardless. But the thing is this: California is huge, and actually outside of the major cities, it's desert, and even like Joshua Tree, you go off on these dirt roads, and there's all these private property signs and shit. That's unincorporated territory. It's actually the same as fucking Texas, bro.
Yeah,
it's unincorporated, gun-toting fucking wild people with the same private fucking signs that you see in Texas. It's the same shit.
That's awesome.
You go east more than 60, 70, 80 miles, and Indio and all the second half of the east side of California all the way up, and then north, pretty much anything above San Francisco is all just gun-toting, fucking truck driving, dog owning, fucking. It's the same shit, bro.
Dog owning.
It's the same shit. It's the same shit. And what people don't realize is most of America is that. Most of America is that.
Middle America is that.
Kansas,
for sure,
fucking Idaho, which is the largest population of fucking Mormons or whatever. They don't fuck around. They don't want to fuck with this bullshit.
Yeah.
You got Montana, Kansas, all the North Dakota, South Dakota, Oklahoma is the highest percentage, I think, of Indians and Indian reservations in the whole country.
Yeah.
I think
you got some great casinos up here, up there.
Half of Oklahoma, I think, is all U.S. nationals.
Yeah.
Non-citizen nationals.
Because of
if you want to go someplace that has more non-citizen nationals, I would assume, than any other place in the world, you want to go to Oklahoma. I would say almost half of Oklahoma is not even registered as a citizen of the United States.
Interesting.
Now, the Indians don't want to talk to you because anyone they talk to fucks them. And I understand why they've kind of become hermits. Yeah. But if you can get any of them to open up to you, even though they're probably not going to trust you, because anytime they trust anybody, pretty much historically they get fucked, which is why they don't trust anybody anymore, which is, it makes perfect sense actually when you study their history. Any of them know any of this, to them it might be just normal, but to most people it's not normal. But to them, I think it's just probably just normal. People just aren't citizens. They're just not. Why the fuck would they probably even say, I mean, I don't know. They probably say, why the fuck would you want to be a citizen? Like, they don't even get it. It doesn't make any sense to them.
Yeah, you have less rights. You have
less rights, and you got to pay taxes, and now the police can come onto our tribal land, and they're going to fuck with us and destroy us and fuck with us because that's what the police do. We've got our own tribal police. We can do whatever the fuck we want. We don't get fucked with. Why the fuck are you people citizens?
Makes sense.
It's probably what they would say. And they have a relationship with the Department of the Interior. I'm assuming all this. I haven't had the opportunity to talk to a lot of Indians. Yeah. I would love to talk to a lot of the Indian tribes, especially the legal arms. Boy, if you can get a hold of, or if you know someone who's part of a legal arm of an Indian tribe, oh my Lord. Oh my Lord, they probably have more information about this than almost anybody in the country. You think a citizenship, nationality, bar card attorney has any of this information? Fuck no. But if you think a legal arm of a tribal group has this information, I would very say
they're probably very well versed. They probably know exactly. My mom is half Native American, so she used to tell me as I was growing up. Her family is from New Mexico and up in Arizona or Oklahoma and all that stuff, north of Texas. I'm going to be looking into that. So I wonder if I have some connections, or at least some people, family members that know of some real tribes that are part of the tribes. You got me. You're going to have me on definitely chasing some rabbits there. I want to know what they know. 100%.
Yeah, the problem is just trust. They don't trust anybody because they just get fucking. I just watched a documentary, the octopus
Yeah, I watched that too. I saw that too. Yeah, man.
Yeah. They're talking about how
full advantage of them, man.
Fucking
Had him
guy,
selling cigarettes and shit. And
in that documentary, they say that fucking white dude was the first guy to create the casinos on the Indian land that doesn't pay taxes.
Yep, I watched that same documentary, man. It was a good one.
I'm like, well, goddamn. I'm like, it's a fucking white boy who fucking,
who would have thought?
And he wasn't paying the fucking tribe any money. He fucking it was full blown slavery.
Yeah.
He enslaved the Catchawa tribe, whatever the fuck it's called. He promised them money and said, these things take time. I'm watching it right now, in the middle of it right now. I love these documentaries.
Me too. I'm right there with you, man.
Yeah. So it's like, again, they got fucked. They get fucked and they get fucked and they get fucked and they get fucked. And I just, I don't want to justify Native Americans behaving as victims, because it's never good and it's never positive. I mean, everyone should just, I've been victimized, but I fucking, learn from things and move on. But the thing is that there is factually a pretty horrible track record there, and it is actually really sad. And what's most sad about it is, if a white guy came in and was the one to figure all this out and put all this in with the Indian tribes, then maybe the Indian tribes don't know. I don't know. Maybe they don't know the power, and you got to realize something super crazy. People think that Native Americans and their weird little tribes and their weird little locations and their weird little personal police that they have, or their tribal police. What's funny is on paper, they're the only ones living in the actual United States of America. U.S. citizens are living in the District of Columbia. Non-citizen nationals are living in the United States of America. So the way that on paper, the way that America lays out is the Indian tribes are the only actual real Americans, and then 99% of everyone in North America all lives in the District of Columbia, and they're basically volunteer employees or officers of the corporation, of the government. So the thing is, the Native Americans are more American than you are, and they always have been since 1871. Before 1871, we were all the same classification as the Native Americans. Before 1871, in 1871, it was called a state citizen versus a federal citizen. Federal citizen lives in the District of Columbia. State citizen lives in one of the actual unincorporated nation states. The Indians are all state citizens. Everyone else is all federal citizens, and then people learning this information are trying to become state citizens. But I don't use the word citizen, but that's the actual, that's the old legal, that's the original terms. That's the actual original term. You look up the slaughterhouse cases, which is the Supreme Court cases that cover the interpretation of the 14th Amendment. They use those two terms verbatim: federal citizen, state citizen. I prefer the term national. I actually prefer the newer shit. I prefer the word national, because I'm not a citizen of anything. I'm not a citizen of any of the nations. I'm a tri-national. I'm not a citizen of any of the three of them. I'm a non-citizen national of all three. So it's one of those things where when you get down to the nitty-gritty of the words and the terms, the Indians are actually in the best position of anyone in all of America. They probably just don't know it, I assume. I guess. Maybe they do. I don't know. Maybe they don't.
I think that's fair. No, that's definitely fair to say. No doubt. I know I've got, I ordered my long form birth certificate. I know you did too, didn't you, Kryptonian?
Oh yeah, I got it in. I was watching this video. I think that as you talked about it, I ordered it. Yeah, and I got it. I got it pretty quickly. I got it about maybe a month ago. Well, it took a month to come in, as you said it would.
Yeah.
So I'm already starting that process. I want to go through the whole. I want to take all the steps. I mean, I hear what you're saying. It makes sense to me. And I'm not just. I'm looking at all the definitions and going through the laws that you're talking about, and it's right there. It's right there.
That's amazing. It's amazing, isn't it?
Yeah. And you're, like I said at the very beginning, I wanted to punch a baby. Yeah. Like, this is no fucking way.
Good. That was good.
No fucking way that this is okay. And and as I'm going through this, I'm watching, my wife's like, oh, let's go watch a movie. Let's go do this. Let's go do that. I'm like, hold on.
Yeah. I'm like shit laser focused right on this shit.
We're getting fucked right now. Hold on. Like, I just figured something out. So like, let's just, she just wants to live life. And the point of that is she just wants to live life. And it was kind of like a surreal moment for me because I'm realizing like that's how every American is. They just give me my entertainment, give me my income tax return at the end of the year, give me my fast food, give me something to not to focus on other than what I need to be doing to actually truly free. And that's where I am now. So, and now that I've explained it to her, I was even talking to my dad, and he was like, my dad's 79 years old, and he was like,
isn't he ex-military as well?
He is. Yeah. He's a Marine, and he fell ill last year. He's been staying with me for the last year. I've been taking care of him. And when I first got in your videos, Brandon, I was like, Dad, let me tell you some shit, Dad.
Yeah. Some of the military guys take it hard, man. Like,
he was just like, no. He just could not. He couldn't grasp it.
It's a very painful pill to swallow. Yeah.
It was. As we watched some of your videos together, he was just like, what do I need to do? He goes, I know I'm a 79, but he goes, it just all makes sense to me now. Like I'm realizing that because he's at his age, he's watched the United States and the politics and just the culture and all these things has changed.
Go to shit.
He's go to shit. And he's trying to understand why, and what was he really fighting for? But he came to a good understanding. And that's what kind of really was a catalyst for me, because I'm like, Dad, I'm not going to just, I'm not going to do what you just did and just, jump in line and just do what you did. I'm going to actually look into all these things and I'm just truly going to leave a legacy for me and my, me and the family. And I think you've laid out some great steps to do that. It's one thing to make a lot of money. One of the things that I really love that you said is you mentioned like someone like Elon Musk, like, okay, one of the richest men in the world, even someone with billions, one of the richest men in the world, they're still slaves to the system.
Yeah.
They truly aren't. As much money as he has, he is still a slave. And you can see that, I mean, almost immediately, if he says something out of the, I would say the script, he literally gets corrected and he comes back and he wants to like, okay, hold on. And let me apologize, go on an apology tour. And I like Elon, I'm just using him as an example because you did, but you could certainly see that. It doesn't matter.
Oh yeah.
How much money you have. It doesn't mean you're free. It's knowing, I think the information that you're giving us is truly giving us freedom. So I really appreciate what you're doing, man. Really, Brandon. I really do.
And speaking of free, the fact that you're doing it for free, man, is first of all, it's noble. You're doing it for the cause, man. You're doing it to get this information out to people who don't know any better, and you're just giving back, and it's fantastic.
Yeah, pay it forward, man. 100%.
Thank you.
Good job on that, man. One of the things that I live by is do right and fear no man. And, back to the very beginning where I said I was like anti-government, just really the tyranny of it all. And you made some comments. You're like, I don't care about the tyranny and all that shit. Yeah. He goes, now I know the rules. I'm going to play by the same rules that they're playing by. And I'm a lot freer for that. That gave me a complete, 180 on holy shit. Like, they're not my enemy. They're giving me the rules to play by, and I will play by those rules, and I will be freer for it. So it's extremely liberating. It definitely is a mind fuck, but it's extremely liberating.
It is a mind fuck. There's no better way to put it.
A mind fuck. Yeah.
Man.
Well, a lot of this stuff, if you learn it, even from this course, even from this podcast.
Yeah.
Everyone listening to this podcast now knows more than literally going to the largest passport center in all of New York City and getting the manager of the entire branch of that entire passport sector. Even they don't totally know this. Okay.
That's
no one knows this. And people walk around and they learn this information and they're thinking in their head, oh, all these fucking dumbass, all these fuckers know this and they didn't tell me, fuck them. They don't know it. No one knows any of this information. No one at the IRS knows any of this information. No one at the passport office knows any of this information. You will not meet a nationality or citizenship attorney. You can have somebody who's been through trial, 30 years of practicing law. They don't know this information. They just don't know it.
Absolutely insane.
Yeah, it is.
Now, is that from from ignorance, or just kind of a situation where you don't know what you don't know because nobody's pointed it out?
Well,
Nobody's actually gone through and looked at the definitions and
get these pieces,
yeah.
and then it's like I feel like I not to be egotistical, but I feel like I'm the first guy who came along and was like, well, how do all these things fit together?
I'll agree with that. Yeah.
Okay, well, how does that fit over here? And how does that fit over here? I'm not 90. I mean, I could figure all this out in 10, 20 years. I don't know. I'm 30 years old. I'm not fucking dying anytime soon. I mean, what am I going to do? You know what I mean? I found it very interesting. I was very curious. I started asking a lot, and then it's like, okay, well, I asked this question, and then I get this answer, and then it opens up 2 doors. And I go through these 2 doors, and then there's 4 doors, and then I go through the 4 doors, and there's 6 doors, and it's like, wow, this is so interesting. And so, I don't know. I'm enjoying the process. I'm enjoying learning. I'm enjoying piecing everything together. I'm enjoying the research. I'm enjoying reading things and finding things and placing things into the puzzle, step by step. And I'm I don't know. I don't have an issue with it. And in fact, at this point, I love the fact that it's so convoluted and complicated, because it just means that I'm going to be doing this puzzle for a while. And I guess the real nightmare is the day that the puzzle's done. I don't know. And then what? You know what I mean?
Well, then I think you continue doing what you're doing now, man, and educating people. I mean, obviously, look how quickly you blew up with the amount of followers, and just I'm sure your life is a 180 from what it used to be. I mean, you're doing speaking engagements and podcasts regularly. Yeah. And, I think that's a testament to the hard work that you've done and, figuring all this out, putting that puzzle together. So yeah, man.
Yeah. Over here, it's like, it's hard work, but most people, especially people who are used to hard work they don't enjoy, it's a very unenjoyable term, hard work. Yeah. It is hard work, and it's been a lot of work, but I've really enjoed this work. I mean, I would.
Oh, it shines that you enjoy it.
Yeah, yeah. If I had an option to understand all this information and understand all these definitions and understand all this terminology, or I could trade in all of that knowledge for $15 trillion, and I could be like Elon Musk. There's no way in fucking hell you're getting this. There's no price tag that you could give me that would make me swap for what I've uncovered.
Speaks volumes, man.
Yeah. Do you say you would say that, back to the word that you defined earlier, do you have peace? I mean, the peace that, like, are you, so I guess the question I would ask you, Brandon, is, I mean, obviously you've been doing this for a bit. I mean, what have you lost? Like when you first started going down this rabbit hole, what changed in your life? Did you lose friends, family, people calling you crazy?
Oh yeah, all the above, everything. I lost everything.
Yeah,
lost everything. And would you do it again?
Oh absolutely. God, 1,000%. It was very, very painful emotionally, but I just knew the entire time that it's what needed to be done. Period. End of story. There was no debate. There was no room for conversation.
Have any of those people ever come back around? Have any of those people ever come back around? After maybe seeing some of your content or seeing how far you've come with it,
It's been a slow train, but the thing is that that's not really, I'm not really interested in that. It's like, you had a chance.
I got you.
Close friends.
Yeah, that's fair.
For no reason. You never looked at what I was doing or what I wanted to do, and you cast me aside. So obviously my friendship didn't mean that much to you, or my business relationship didn't mean that much to you, because this meant a lot to me. And if you were my friend, you would have at least looked at it. And the fact that you didn't, I don't trust that. So
that's good. Good.
Yeah.
So at the end of the day, it didn't really cost you anything. It really helped you eliminate those that would not support you, of course. And
it's one of those things you would have never guessed. You would have never, ever, ever in a million years guessed. It's like COVID. You have your brother and your sister and your mother and and then all of a sudden everyone's trying to kill each other, right? You would have never guessed. You would have never guessed this. I think for a lot of people learning this information, applying this information, and sharing this information with people, you are going to experience COVID round 2. You are going to experience you just never would have guessed. You never would have guessed.
Yeah,
I hear a lot of wife-husband shit as well.
Yeah.
A lot.
Yeah, my wife thinks I'm nuts.
My wife thinks I'm remember, I'm going on my second year
wearing,
now. She's like, my wife's like, wait, what? Wait, we just bought a house. Like, what the hell's going on?
You're not going to be paying taxes. What?
We got a place in Cabo. Where our passports are legit, right? So she's like, well, you mean I can't go to Cabo anymore? I'm like, hold on.
Right.
I'm not saying that, but yeah. So and I'm always chasing rabbits, and that's why when I got into crypto, it was kind of when my mind opened up.
Well, we've had podcasts about the moon landing and how
moon landing and NASA, and all that.
You had Flat Earth Dave on.
Yeah, I don't know that guy.
I actually like Flat Earth. I'm not a Flat Earther. I'm not a Flat Earther. I'm kind of like whatever in the middle somewhere. But I like Dave.
Dave's
I like Dave.
Dave's a good dude, man.
Same here.
He's a real lively dude. I like his energy.
Yeah, he's a lot of fun, man, and he's good at present. I liked his just approach to everything, and
he was fun.
Quite honestly, he kind of spoke to NR and I about something similar to what you're talking about. And that we were like, wait, hold, what the fuck?
When did you have him on? Because he's a big fan of my course. When did you have him on?
A couple months ago, I think, about 2 months ago.
Yeah, it was probably
about 2 or 3 months ago.
Probably from mine. Yeah.
Well, I think he sent me an email because I asked him on the podcast on the live. I was like, hey, man, who how do you get out of paying taxes? He mentioned that, right?
Oh, okay. Like, so I actually have one of what you're talking about, and it's called it's not going the national route or anything like that. It's called an unincorporated nonprofit association.
Okay.
And basically it's a big thing actually in California. It's a unincorporated nonprofit association, and they're not taxed. And it's
no, because in order to be in the District of Columbia, it's got to be incorporated. An unincorporated entity, and it doesn't really exist in the District of Columbia. That's the whole point.
Yes. Exactly.
That's why they had to create the all caps name, because the all caps name is incorporated, right?
Mm-hmm.
Unincorporated and District of Columbia, that's like water and oil. That's not even
correct. So it's not taxed for that reason, because it's unincorporated and it's a nonprofit. Yeah. So it's like you got the best of both worlds there. So I actually have one, and that's what my automotive consulting business is in.
Oh, beautiful! That's great.
So
just don't ever say that thing is located in state of California.
It is not in the state of. Yeah, it is not in the state.
As long as you say that, or just say unincorporated California. That's also another simple way you can say it.
I'm gonna have to restructure some of my businesses now.
They want you to say that company is a resident or located in or doing business in state of California.
They want you to say.
They want you to say the incantation.
Yeah.
They'll do anything. They'll do anything.
Say the spell, right? Say the spell.
And I think that's one of the biggest things that you have to get used to when you go on this journey, I think, is learning to, the same thing with, get a PO box. Your mailing addresses and things of that nature. It's a lot. Now, would you say somebody that's going on this journey, would you say they should get ready, because they're going to probably at some point have to be more litigious and may have to represent themselves in court? Do you see that as something that's definitely going to be in the future, probably for somebody that goes down this path?
I think it's so recently what I've been saying about this subject is that, there are many cultures in the world where there is a rite of passage when a boy becomes a man, right? And for women, it's the period when the period begins. That's the built-in biological rite of passage for a woman, right? I believe that, and this is very just my opinion, and I've read a lot of books and I'm into philosophy for many, many years. I believe that for example, in Saudi Arabian culture, they have the Mecca, where there's this whole journey that the boy goes on. The boy goes on this journey to Mecca, and then he comes back and he's a man, and that's it. End of story. That's the definition of boy to man, right? Also, this whole teenager thing is kind of new too. We didn't have the term teenager many, many years ago. And actually you go back hundreds and hundreds or thousands of years, and you have 13-year-old boys that were knocking up women and commanding standing armies. So it's actually kind of pathetic that a 15-year-old is all fucked up and doesn't know anything and doesn't even know what gender they are. And it's just the whole thing is really sad that it's gotten this bad, right? Sad. I mean, So the thing is that I believe that what men need is a rite of passage. And I believe that there's two areas that are really, really good for a male rite to passage. I believe one of them is hand-to-hand combat.
I'm with you. Agreed.
Yeah.
And I believe the other one is litigation.
Yeah. One physical
and basically representing yourselves, not getting a bar card attorney.
Yes.
Okay.
So
it's kind of a battle of wits. It's a meeting of the minds there. Yeah, that makes sense.
So that's my own very kind of weird, very interesting take on it. I believe that litigation or hand-to-hand combat, not that it's an obligation.
Well, one's physical, one's mental, but then both, I mean,
I feel like
combat, you're still mental,
one or the other is sort of like what we, I don't want to use the word should. It's not an obligation. I just feel like it really does center you as a man. It really does stabilize you. It really does reboot you with like updated firmware. I don't know really how to. It's like I don't know how to. It's like
you're talking about the litigation and or the hand-to-hand combat, like the training or the
something like that. That basically is the upgrade. It's the upgrade. It's the upgrade from being a boy to being a man. It's not about age. It's about 100%. The way you think. It's like the firmware of your mind. I mean, really. It's like you have, as a boy, you have a firmware, and as a man, you have a firmware in your mind, and it's the way you think about the world and things in general. And it's like, I just feel that it's some kind of hand-to-hand combat or litigation or some subversion of one of those things. I just feel like that's, in the West, I feel like that's just what we didn't know we had.
I could definitely speak to that. My dad put me in martial arts at the age of 8, say about 6, 8, and I was into martial all the way through until I went to college, and that kept me grounded.
That's what I mean.
I was competition. I was in karate, kung fu. Discipline. A little bit of jiu-jitsu, and the discipline. Just that whole, and you're right about that. The mindset that I was in, the way I saw the world, the respect I had for other men, knowing at any moment it could turn to violence if I disrespected another man, and someone could die. It just changes your mindset when you walk into a room, and you don't just disrespect somebody. You don't think you're Superman, because you realize that anybody at any time can be better than you. So there's a humility that comes with that. So yeah, I can definitely speak to that for me in my life and what I've done. I'm an IT guy. I run an IT company, and the stress that comes with just owning a company, as you can imagine, and having a family. I would say that I have pretty. I would say my stress is very manageable, and it has to do with I think just the training I had and in martial arts. They've never allowed me to give up, and to always kept me to stay focused and to kind of revisit if you messed up. This is why always to go back and for correction, and realize that it's not about me. It's about the process, essentially, right? But anyhow, so I can definitely speak to that. So I like that philosophy that you have, because that makes a lot of damn sense, at least for me. As far as litigation, I can absolutely see that too. I love debate. I love bringing facts to a conversation, and especially as the older I've gotten, with the power of YouTube, I'm watching thousands of debates. It seems like thousands of hours of debates in the last few years because of the power of YouTube. I love that stuff, and I love when two ideas come together, two different maybe culture or life experiences, and one can change my mind, because of just based on the facts that they bring, right? And that to me is amazing. I mean, so yeah, I can definitely agree with you in that regard. I mean, it makes a lot of sense.
So I feel like for women, maybe litigation is not going to be as much of a thing. Maybe it is, maybe it's not, because it's just very, very, it's basically hand-to-hand combat, essentially, a little bit different. But I feel like for guys, it's something that not only are you going to get into, but you're going to want to get into? I don't know what else to really say. Now that I'm into it, I want to sue everything. I want to sue.
Yeah, I've been following you, and if you want to, you can follow some of Brandon's cases, so that's pretty cool.
So I if I had to say, I'd say a small percentage of women will be getting involved in litigation because they want to or because they have to. I don't know what's going to happen with men. I would say there are a lot of men out there who feel irritated, who feel like something needs to change in the world, and I think that they are going to find an avenue of possibility in the area of litigation, and they are going to. But this idea that brand new people may have to this, that they're going to have to do it, and it's going to be this horrible, uncomfortable experience that is going to cause them mass amounts of emotional trauma for 2 or 3 years. No, that's not that's when you asked the question, you were like, are you going to have to litigate as like an obligation?
Yeah,
no,
is it something people can expect?
You're going to want to, as you go down this and as you do these things, it's going to be, I joke and I laugh. The way that I describe litigation is it's like a Rhino 9000 gas station boner pill. It's your and I've never taken one. I just
sure you haven't, Brandon. Sure.
Dude, I'm the last person that needs a fucking boner pill, bro. I could fucking hear like a fork drop off someone's fucking plate and hit the ground. I've got a fucking hard on.
I hear you there, brother. I hear you.
So it's one of those things where you can open a window and I'm like, well, wait a second. Oh, gosh. But I just laugh and joke and I make everything kind of fun. But it's I don't know. I think for most dudes, I don't know, man. When you get a taste, I don't know, man. I think there's going to be a lot of dudes that are going to be really, really into this. And I think that,
yeah, there you go.
I think
he's got a boner right now.
Yeah. See, got one of the guys, Michael Svizzy.
Mike Svizzy.
Right
I think people. He's a body tech. He actually he used to work for me at my shop, and great friend of mine, man. He's a good dude.
So I think that
he must have heard a fork drop or something.
Yeah.
Or a window open. Yeah.
He's an asshole like we are.
So what I want is I want there to be a massive army of dudes or chicks, but probably dudes that are wanting to do this, that are into it, that love it, because that's powerful, bro.
Yeah,
when there's no bar card attorneys and there's no fees and they can't just exhaust you financially.
Yeah.
And you're just in it to win it, and you're just loving every second of it, and they can't beat you off. They can't threaten you. They can't call their bar card buddy, or they can't file a bar card complaint on your bar card attorney. There's nothing they can fucking do, bro.
And that is a true militia right there. I think people are doing just for the good of man.
They are
dude, yeah, you're right. When there's no money attached to it, and I see why that's why you're doing it. You're just trying to get the information out there because you are literally building an army of thinkers and people that of men or women, if they choose to join this, and to actually do right and fear no man in that regard. Where look, I think people, they just don't know. I didn't know what I didn't know until NR said, "Hey, check this guy out." Who? This stupid fuck. Who? And the rest is history.
That shit, man.
Yeah, man. I was like, what the fuck? I said, are you serious? But yeah, but but I love the way you're branding yourself, man. I mean, it's genius.
Fantastic.
It is. Everybody's like, man. The fuck is this? I don't think I've said the fuck word more in my life ever since that. But in all seriousness, I love what you're doing. You're I didn't know what I didn't know. Now that I do, I want to get out and share this information. With everybody. With no strings attached, other than you just need to know this because you need to know this. I feel like the women are like the educators. Like I work, like before I started doing litigation, I was mainly operating in like more of a feminine capacity in a way, because I was just a teacher and an educator, and I feel like that's more natural for like the feminine, right? But like as a masculine, I feel like when I found litigation, I was like, oh yeah.
this is what I've been.
This is my sweet spot.
Yeah.
Like this is getting on my motorcycle.
The woman stays at home. The woman stays at home, and the woman is educating and sharing and promulgating the information with everyone in town and telling everyone in town and getting everyone excited while I'm off at war. Do you know what I mean? It's like, I don't know. I feel like that is, it just feels right. I don't know what to tell you. It's just,
yeah. In a sense where you're going off, you're going into the trenches, you're taking the hits, there's a lot of collateral damage. You're getting wounded. You've lost family, friends, relationships, both professional and I'm sure personal along the way. And now that, and it'd be great to have a backfill of teachers. You've done the hard work. Here's the information. Now you've got the teachers coming in saying, sharing what you've gone out there and killed and brought home, I guess, to some degree. So I see the picture. I see the picture you're painting. It makes a lot of sense. Yeah. And everyone has a role to play, I think. And you've been at this for at least 2 years now, right? Or a couple years.
I launched the first version of the website, which was text only, on March 14th of 2022.
Okay. So 2022. How long
were you? Was released on July 2nd, 2022.
So in 2022 is when you actually said you felt comfortable enough to say this needs to go out into the public domain. Yeah. How long, like before that, were you actually
6 months exactly to the day, almost
6 months. So that there you go.
Honestly,
it is.
It was like October 14th. No, it went September 14th till March 14th. It was like literally almost 6 months to the day.
And I can't wait to see some of the stuff that comes out from your litigations, because you're really just getting rolling into that. So I can't wait to see some.
It's a very slow, very slow.
It is slow, obviously.
I'm sure some of these bar attorneys are just kicking and screaming, because when you present them with the facts and definitions of words, what else can they do? They probably start to personally attack you.
All 4 cases. Yeah, that's what they're doing. Yeah, so all 4 cases, they're like flat out like trying everything they can to prevent having to answer the original complaints. They're doing everything, even in the Amex case, the Compass case, the Amex case. They're doing a lot of personal attacks on me. I just laugh. It's just, I call it. I came up with a new term. So I just released a video on my YouTube. It's the litigation mini course video number 1 of 2. I just released it, I think yesterday or the day before that. There's another one coming out in a few days. It's the second video of that. And that one, we go through the whole docket of the MX case. I teach you how to use Pacer. It's like fucked. I've never done anything like this. It's brand new. The way that I look at it, the way that I call, I created a term on the show live, and I like the term a lot. I'm going to keep using it. It's called irrelevant billables. So what it is it's they want to bill their clients, so they have to create some kind of a work.
Yeah.
So what they do is they develop all this irrelevant communication and paperwork that has nothing to do with the original complaint or any of the issues of the complaint. And they use, I call it irrelevant billables. And I actually really enjoy that term. And I've been thinking about it for the past couple of days. And I think that's the new term.
If you've ever paid $100 just to send an email to a lawyer, you know exactly what he's talking about, man. You know?
Shit.
So
anybody that's been through a divorce or anything.
Oh yeah, this is my second marriage. So yeah, the first divorce. Hell yeah, dude. I racked up some just responding to a text message.
Yeah,
I got billed for that shit. I was like,
well, what's funny? Just as a
$10,000 later, I was like, what the?
Yeah.
What's crazy about divorce,
text, dude? You know,
this is actually a dark underbelly. So the way it works is, the one divorce attorney and the other divorce attorney are actually buddies. They become buddies.
Makes
sense. What they do is they turn around and they fan the flames of chaos to both of their clients individually
to extract more money out of it.
And then they both suck both of their individual clients dry on both sides of the tip.
Vampires, basically.
This is a very, very common practice in divorce court. So for anyone who may be involved in any sort of divorce proceedings, realize that it's all by design, my friends. I mean, think about the kind of person that would need to be involved in as a divorce attorney. That's fucking horrifying. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It can't. Yeah, you can't. It can't be rewarding in any sense of because a family is being, of course, destroyed in a sense. I mean, obviously the husband and wife have decided to, okay, we're going to end this relationship, but just the collateral damage that comes with that. But to be on the receiving side monetarily of going, so because I've been through it, and I'm sure you have as well. Where so go ahead and list all your assets.
First one was practice. First one was
practice. Yeah. Go ahead and list all your assets. And in the moment, it was the moment I listed all my assets. That's when they got real personal, and it's like, I thought this was going to be really quick. Why are we 6 months into this thing, and why is it costing me so much more money? But I just remember I just felt gross. I feel a lot worse coming out of that thing than I did going in thinking, okay, we're going to end this thing amicably, and it was a mutual thing. But it was because of having to deal with lawyers 100%, man. It was just disgusting. But,
you had some issues and you wanted to end it, and then you went ahead and paid to add 2 psychopathic individuals into the mix.
In fact, we actually had a write-up of like an agreement, like this is what we're gonna take. We both signed off on this thing. This is what we're splitting the assets. You get this, I get that. You're responsible for this. This is how we're gonna do everything. It was very one pager, but the lawyers would not have it. They had to write up something else.
That's not billables, and it's not irrelevant.
Yeah.
They want irrelevant billables. That's like if they had to pick between sex and irrelevant billables, they would pick irrelevant billables.
The billables every time. And isn't it true that after the divorce, you still have the contract with the government still involved there?
I don't know all nitty gritty details, but no, I mean, pretty much when you finish a divorce, you're pretty much solid.
Okay.
But you can also do, I think it's called an annulment or something like that. Yeah. That's where you go back and you actually call fraud on all of the original documentation. And you basically, instead of going forward to a divorce, you go back and you eliminate it at its source. I don't know all the details about all of it, but I think annulment is the way I would go if I was in that situation. But I don't know. It's different for everyone. It's a delicate situation. For me, if I was involved in that situation, it would just be like, that's it. The marriage is over. I'm doing an annulment. I'm sending everything. And if you don't like it, you can fucking leave. But I know
anyway.
That's what I tried to do, but the lawyers wouldn't have it.
Yeah. So it's
funny. I know the lawyers hate your ass. I know they hate you.
They hate me and they love me because they love me. Because my cases are fucking gigantic.
Yeah.
Like 400.
So now they've got all those billables.
$460 million just in my first 4 cases, or 400 million. I forget the number. Wow. So they love me, but they also hate me. It's a total love-hate relationship. Big time.
Yeah, I could see that.
Yeah.
They're making money off of you, but they don't.
They're making a lot of money off me, but they know there's no chance they're gonna get it. The only chance they have of getting anywhere with me is some underhanded horse shit. You can check all the dockets for all my cases, and like they've hardly talked about the complaint or the specifics of the complaint or the specifics of finances or the specific of negotiable instruments, and they've barely answered any of the concerns that I've raised because they know that once they answer it, it's all over.
Yeah, and I would assume companies like American Express, because this is information that just like the being a non-citizen, people don't know this about the negotiable instruments and how the monetary system works. It's just not something that most people know.
Yeah,
and once that kind of gets out there, once you when you win that case, it's not going to be good for American Express and those companies. So they don't want that getting out there. I'm surprised they haven't come at you with some type of settlement or something just to
shut me up.
Yep. That's kind of what I was
expecting. Probably because they know that I'm going to be tooting it up, rooting and tooting. As soon as I'll be fucking, private jets and all the craziness and flying everybody out and pickle parties. And it'll be, they're probably thinking there's no way, it's not going to work anyway. So we're fucked either way with this. Might as well drag it out and fucking see what we can. I don't know. Who knows? I have no idea. They won't even talk to me. So, we're 28 filings deep into the docket of the court, and we haven't even started the train engine yet, let alone leaving the station. And everything's gone to the court, and the court's either going to determine that they're going to dismiss the case, or they're going to determine that we're going to roll forward with the case. If we roll forward the case, they have to answer the complaint.
Yeah.
And I think that's the most terrifying thing in the world to them. That's my own personal assumption. I wrote the goddamn thing specifically for that reason. That's how I wrote it. That's why I wrote it the way that I wrote it. You know what I mean? So, this is combat, and I wanted to win before we even started. What does Sun Tzu say in The Art of War? He says, war.
Great book.
Win the war before you even start, or win the war without ever going to battle, right?
Yep.
And that's what I was thinking of when I wrote the complaint. I was like, how do I write this in a way where it's already over before it starts? And that's how I developed that style of writing the complaint.
Makes sense. And anybody wondering, Brandon has written, 2 books?
Yes.
You've written 2 books?
Yeah. Well, 3 technically, because the State National 3 page is a book.
There you go. Yeah. So he's written technically 3, but he does have, I think, 2 books out there. So you can check them out on Amazon as well. I wrote a book last year. So shoot me your P.O. box. I'll send you a copy.
Hell yeah. What did you write?
Yeah. So it's the name of the book is called A Solutions Mindset. And basically it's just kind of tools to, I've had I've had a blessed life, but it wasn't always easy. I moved out when I was 16, that kind of stuff.
Okay.
And just tools and just different ways that you can, switch your mindset on to being positive and on the right path and all that stuff. So tools that I've learned over the years, and hopefully, I've had some guys read it and say, man, I needed to hear that. And this time of my life when I'm going through a divorce or something.
Oh,
like that.
shit.
So,
yeah.
That kind of stuff. And, I've always wanted to write a book. And it was just something I said, man, if I can help at least one person out there, I'll feel good about it. And mission accomplished. So, yeah, man.
Fuck yeah. Congrats, man. Writing a book is a beautiful thing. I always laugh when people are like, oh, I'm going to write a book and make a bunch of money. No, you're not. You fucking retarded. You're not going to make dick. The thing is that what you are going to do is you're going to go through a tremendous transformational phase. And what you will be paid, quote unquote, for writing your book is the world will treat you differently after you publish your book forever. You will be treated differently by the world after you publish your book. It won't be any money in it.
Yeah.
You're going to spend more money designing the thing, getting it printed, than you will probably ever in selling it.
Yeah.
But it positions you and it places you in a very different frame of mind. It does kind of almost like a built-in diplomatic immunity to it, even by itself. People are more likely to take you seriously. People are more likely to listen to what you have to say. People are more likely to respect your time, your energy. There's a whole kind of it's a very strange phenomenon of writing.
No, you're not wrong. Yeah, you're definitely not wrong, man. Like I said, I'd definitely like to send you a copy, man.
I'd love that.
Love to. Yeah, man. Yes, sir.
All right, guys. Well,
hey, man.
I think
appreciate the time. Yeah, it's about that time. It's a little after midnight over here, and even though I could sit here and talk forever, but
well, he's in California. Was it like 7 p.m. over there?
Yeah. He's getting ready to go eat dinner.
Yeah, 9, and I am gonna go eat dinner. Yeah, but it's just like after 3 hours, it's just like, oof.
Yeah.
No, I appreciate your time, Brandon. I'm still going through your course. I've learned a lot, man, and I'm just excited about this journey that you've helped me. Well, in ours actually the point of the way, but I appreciate you laying the breadcrumbs out for me. You've given me just immense information. It's invaluable, so I really appreciate that, and I do know that you will definitely. You've been paying it forward, man. You're doing this because it needs to be done. Right. And I appreciate that. I hear the call, and I believe many men out there will. So thank you again for that. And I appreciate your time. I hope to talk to you again, man. And I will say this. I know that you're a motorcyclist as myself and there's nothing like, I think the closest thing to flying is being on 2 wheels. And I know, you know what I'm talking about, man.
Hell yeah, man.
So, so deuces to you, man. You know what that, it's that brotherhood in that, brother.
God, yeah, man. Motorcycles, man. I don't even like. I have a cool car, but I don't even like to drive it that much.
Hell yeah, that's all.
You do have a cool ass car, man.
Hell yeah.
I'd rather be on the bike, man. I'm telling you, I'd rather.
Yep, I get
it. Much. I put some in California. This is the best.
Oh yeah, man. I know.
Motorcycles in California. I'll tell you what. You can give me all the liberals you want all day long. It's motorcycles in California go together like you wouldn't fucking believe.
100%,
I mean,
man.
it is You guys ever ridden down here?
I have not, but when I first started riding, all the YouTubers like they were doing the video, the vloggers, they're all in California, man. I was just like, holy
bro,
shit,
you're going through mountains, and then 5 minutes later, you're going through you can go on the 101, and you can go down, and you can go through mountains that will through Malibu mountains and horse ranges, and then boom, you pop out at the fucking ocean. No joke, dude.
Oh, that's awesome.
Fucking. Like huge valleys and you're just rolling through, and there's tunnels that go through the mountain, and they're beautiful, and everything's really clean. You go through, and it's so vast and so crazy, and the mountains are so crazy, and the valleys are so crazy, and everything. It's actually spatially shifts your perception. You're holy fuck, you're just whoa, and it's and then you pop out at the ocean. And then you're at PCH, and then you go down. There's just fucking bars and babes everywhere. And there's 9 trillion motorcycles, literally probably 35%. In the summer, it's 30% motorcycles, 20 to 30% on certain days, especially on the weekend.
Really?
I mean, you can't even, the whole, say hi to your buddies. You don't even do it anymore. It's just your arm would be out the whole fucking time. Yeah. So you don't even fucking do it anymore. It's just it's amazing. I mean, motorcycles in California.
I definitely got to go up to I haven't been to California, but I need to go. I just need to take my Ducati, man. Just do it.
There you go, brother.
It's the best. It's the best.
Ducati was going to they were going to do a ride out there, kind of ride and share, they they're doing an event. A couple years back, I should have went. I didn't take them up on the offer, but I definitely want to ride up there. And but yeah, the one thing I love about riding a motorcycle is when you're on a motorcycle, the only thing that you think about when you're on a motorcycle is riding the motorcycle.
Yeah.
And nothing else matters, I mean, that is my reset. That is my reset.
Yeah, it is. It's therapy. It is really therapy.
It is definitely therapeutic.
The other thing I always tell people about motorcycles, it's really interesting that most motorcycle people don't know. And then I talk to motorcycle people and I say this thing and they go, holy shit, he's right. So especially in California where you're lane splitting most of the time because the traffic's so bad, you are, there's nothing in the world, in my opinion. It's a very feminine thing actually in a way too, which is really fascinating, but it's like the feminine skill translated into a masculine world. Of the sub communication of you are literally moving these cars and these people out of the way. You are commanding move.
Yeah.
You are reaching out and you're picking up this dude and he's on his phone and he's going to drift to the left and you already know it's going to happen before he even knows it's going to fucking happen.
Yeah, man. Hell yeah.
And you fucking make a little bit of room, and then he fucking sways, and you're like, you fucking idiot. And then you punch his side mirror off. Those videos are hilarious. I don't punch the side mirrors off. But those videos make me cry with laughter.
Sure.
But I'm just saying, you are in such communication. You know more about what the other guy's thinking than he even does, and that's fucking crazy. There's not a lot of things in the world. That's right. Where you are going. That motorcycling is above a human experience. It's on the spiritual plane. It is above the meat. It's
man,
not a meat thing.
1,000% right on that.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. When you're in that zone, man,
I'm a much better. I drive a car much more safer now because I'm a motorcyclist.
Sure.
I am because and you're right. I can literally foresee that car drifting, whatever. And you're right. I mean, obviously I'm not getting them out of the way. Like, hey man, move. But they see when they do see me. But
the anticipation.
No, but you're bitch, don't you fucking dare.
Yeah.
And they're like, no. They don't even know. They don't even know what's going on. They're like, I'm gonna put my phone
rev
down.
Up. Boom, boom, boom. Hell yeah, dude. Then they get out of the way.
Bro, that's sub communication. You think that you thought a thought and he just randomly oh shit. No, you fucking delivered. Don't you fucking dare, motherfucker. You delivered that shit, bro.
I agree, man.
It arrives.
It is definitely on a spiritual level, man. It really is. I mean, it is above the human experience. The next thing to that is flying, and one of my goals in life is to buy a plane, of course. And
I want a helicopter. I want a helicopter.
This guy here, he wants to shoot from the helicopter and all that.
I want.
But yeah,
in Vegas, you can do all that. You can shoot like a machine gun out of a helicopter for.
Now
you can pay for anything in Vegas. You could probably be banging hookers and doing blow and fucking shooting machine guns and throwing grenades all at the same time.
Sounds like a party.
As long as you pay for it, they'll fucking Vegas is wild. Yeah.
Yeah, that's hilarious.
Anyways,
cool.
All
right, man. Hopefully, you don't get. Hopefully, you don't get too big and blow up too much to where we can't have you back. Oh man,
no. I don't want to.
It was definitely awesome.
With that being said, we do hope to have you on because we know you covered a lot. But hopefully, if you've got time, Brandon, I know you're busy, man. But if we can bring it back on, we definitely want to get into some meat and potatoes at some of the things that we didn't get a chance to cover because there's a lot, man. There's a lot.
Financials is probably the only other thing. Like we can get into cars and stuff, but the driver is pretty simple. We can get into financials next time if you want. Yeah.
Yeah, let's do it for sure. Yeah, it's definitely let's set that up, man. So with that being said, man, be safe on those wheels, man. 2 wheels up, obviously, or 2 wheels, and it was great having you, man.
Hell yeah, guys!
I'm walking away with so much more than I started with this morning when I woke up. So I appreciate you for that, man.
Thank you guys.
As I always say, time is the most valuable thing that we have, and we appreciate you spending yours with us, man.
Awesome, man. Thank you so much, guys. Really appreciate it. We'll talk soon.
Talk to you soon, buddy.
Take care, brother.
Bye-bye.
All right, we'll end it here. Take it easy, guys. Peace.
See you guys.